Warning. This show contains content intended for adult audiences. The language is crass at best and downright insulting most of the time. This is all made for the sake of comedy and poor sophomoric taste. The skits are parodies, and any similarity to real people or stories is purely coincidental. Any insults hurled at any one human is made in jest. We're just covering our bases for when one of you skins your knee on an internet insult. We love you. Again, this is all a joke, whether you laugh or not. Not just the show, but this waking existence. The great cosmic giggle. Try not to take it seriously.
15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. We have a liftoff. Liftoff on Apollo.
Now, I'm sure that most of you know the old story about the astronaut who went far out into space and was asked on his return whether he had been to heaven and seen God. And he said yes.
Greetings, ladies, gentlemen, non-binaries, and sentient artificial intelligence. Join us on this journey to find the others. Because no matter where we find ourselves in this multiverse, the act of existing is all too familiar.
Guys? Is anybody out there? Hello?
The mushroom has a tremendous problem-solving ability.
Herb is a plant. Herbs are good for everything.
As we look across this great expanse and stare at the stars, we can't help but be reminded these lights, though we're seeing them all at the same time, happened across a multi-billion-year delta. Some of those fires burned millions of years ago, some billions, but all of them happened so we could experience them in this one singular moment.
They called us scouts. They called us seekers. They called us Hoosier. But we were destined to question every.
I don't know about you, but as for me, the question has already been answered. Should we be here? Yes.
It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. Steve likes the weed. Steve likes the weed. Tell you about DMT. The DMT. Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Hoosiers with the dream. Sophisticated blasphemy. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. Question all the things that you know. So let's set our minds free for the singularity. It's the Hoosier Sophisticate Show. The Hoosier Sophisticate Show.
Join us and start your day with a gentle meditation from Hoosier Sophisticate. Let us all remember, we are only as good as our last breath.
Good morning. This morning we're going to do it just a little bit differently. I think I want to start the morning meditations with different spiritual leaders and different leaders in meditation throughout the years. And normally we do something guided or, a guided visualization or some kind of meditation. But today I want to dive into a couple of Rumi quotes and just bask in what they bring in the meditative sense. So, your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. This being human is a guest house. Every morning is a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from the beyond. At times, my state resembles sleep. A misguided person may think it is sleep. Know that my eyes are asleep, but my heart is awake. Know that my seemingly inactive form is really in action. The prophet said, "My eyes sleep, but my heart is not asleep to the Lord of created beings." Your eyes are awake, and your heart is sunk in slumber. My eyes are asleep, but my heart is in contemplation of the opening of the door of divine grace. My heart hath 5 senses other than the physical. Both the worlds external and spiritual are the stage for the senses of the heart. Do not regard me from the standpoint of your infirmity. To you, 'tis night. To me, that same night is morning tide. To you, 'tis prison. To me, that prison is like a garden. To me, the absolute state of occupation with the world has become a state of spiritual freedom. Your feet are in the mud. To me, the mud has become roses. You have mourning. I have feasting and drums. Whilst I'm dwelling with you in some place on the earth, I'm coursing over the 7th sphere of heaven. 'Tis not that I'm seated beside you, 'tis my shadow. My rank is higher than the reach of thoughts. because I have passed beyond all thoughts and have become a swift traveler outside the region of thought. I am the ruler of thought, not ruled by it, because the builder is ruler over the building. In the view of him that has not experienced it, this is mere pretension. In the view of the inhabitants of the spiritual horizon, this is reality.
With me, and you'll be in a world of pure imagination. Take a look, and you'll see into your imagination. We'll begin with a spin, traveling in the world of my creation. What we'll see will defy explanation. If you want to view paradise, simply look around and view it. Anything you want to, do it. Want to change the world, there's nothing to it.
Hooray! I never thought my life could be anything but catastrophe, but suddenly I begin to see a bit of good luck for me, 'cause I got a golden ticket, hooray! I've got a golden twinkle in my eye. I never had a chance to shine, never had a happy song to sing. Suddenly half the world is mine, what an amazing thing, 'cause we've got a golden ticket. It's ours, Hoosiers. We've got a golden ticket.
Good morning, sophisticated Hoosiers. How do we find ourselves this beautiful, beautiful day? A little different something for the guided meditation. Apologize for the tardiness, but I think we might move towards more of a 7:30 time slot to 10 or so. We're going to see as Miss and I take over the mornings here. We're just going to change it up a little bit. We're going to try and bring you some great content and kind of what's going on with the industry, kind of change the conversation a little bit and see how it goes from there. So my entire family jumped in the car with me last night, and we drove across the state searching for the RSO. And it's bleak. It's bleak, guys. The situation that we face right now as a medical program in Missouri is it's a lot worse than we think. And there are far fewer people controlling this industry than we think. So I am, I'm a bit, well, I'm trying to go and get the story because I'm just trying to get some people some medicine. I can tell you that the question that we are asking, nobody has an answer for. I can tell you that some of the fights that we've been picking, the people are right to that have defended themselves, the small businesses, the dispensaries, and now I'm finding out even the people, the hopeful manufacturers, are really not in control of this at all. We have a situation where the cultivators, the few cultivators that are acting, or that are in business, are they've essentially got the entire industry by the balls. The same people like Archimedes that rushed to market moldy weed, and pushed it off on dispensaries, and it was tested. So it's really hard to hold a dispensary accountable for potentially, selling moldy medicine or anything, because it is tested and sent to them packaged before it gets there. So all of this comes down to the cultivators. Every single bit of the problems in this program. Now, They are an easy scapegoat because typically the people that are running these massive cultivations are obscenely rich. They won licenses. They've done a lot to keep other cultivators from being in the business. They didn't see to any provisions that dispensaries or even manufacturers could even have micro-grows in their operations so that they could at least have some, some level of quality control and brand separation. And right now, it looks very, very, very bleak. It looks unbelievably bleak if you are a cannabis patient in Missouri as far as getting FECA oil. Now, that doesn't mean that it's not out there, and if you need a FECA protocol, you need to reach out to us. There are people waking up to this reality, and we will figure out a way to make this happen. In the meantime, very big, real change needs to happen. The state has put unnecessary gates on the industry, and those gates are being guarded by about less than a handful of people. Without saying too much, because I want to really kind of get it all together and paint a big picture, and also because I'm straight up tired of bitching on this show. That's just not what we're doing here anymore. We're going to get something done. So I want everyone to know that the question remains, and everybody should blow up every major cultivator and manufacturer there is. And there's only 2 manufacturers now, and I haven't seen much out of Proper, but Clover is definitely posturing, and Clover deserves every bit of bullshit that they get because Josh Mitchum pounds his chest at the Kansas City Star and says he has more weed than the entire state. After talking to dispensaries, several dispensaries, and now a couple of hopeful manufacturers, they have no product. They have no product, and one of the questions that we asked as they awarded vertical licenses was, what are you going to do to keep these vertical operations from hoarding all of their plant material for the people that depend on that supply chain in order to make medicine? Because that's the problem. When you only award so many, essentially, you're going to find a way to squeeze out people at the bottom of the supply chain. That's what's happening right now. I am absolutely empathetic to any of the dispensaries that have been trying to stand up and say, yeah, we know, we've been saying this for quite a while. I'm empathetic to their plight. I'm empathetic to people trying to pay their overhead without anything to pay it. And this is like as basic of monopolistic. Honestly, there should be an antitrust case brought against most of them right now because the state gave many of these companies firm deadlines of when they had to be operational. So they're forcing these companies to be operational. Meanwhile, they're not forcing any of the supply chain to make sure that these companies have products to sell. So that does not work. That does not work. And so now, here's what I'm doing. Now I'm going to find all of these people who are being screwed, and we're going to make this coalition even stronger. And if if anybody wants to question, the intentions of this program or this community, tell it to my kids that sat in the car until 12:30 last night trying to solve a problem that everybody's been bitching about for 2 weeks. Well, for longer than 2 weeks, but really gotten once my old partner got everybody's attention. So I'm a little pissed off. Yeah, I got home from across the state last night at about 1 o'clock in the morning, hoping to have some kind of good news. And the reality of the situation is even if they had the product, the way that the cultivators are treating this market, pretending that, and I mean, they're not pretending anything. This is reality. They have the entire industry by the balls, and none of them believes cannabis is medicine. Not one of those cultivators believes cannabis is medicine. I believe that Josh Mitchum has, I think Josh Mitchum, and I'm not sure of a couple other actors, but I'll keep throwing his name out there because he was so bold to go in front of one of the largest newspapers in the state and pound his chest about having more weed than the state. Well, he has more weed than the state, and meanwhile there are dispensaries that don't have product on the shelf, and there are manufacturers, or soon-to-be manufacturers, that can't even sniff a crop in order to start making anything, any kind of medicine. Then, at the prices that they're trying to force all of them to pay, you're looking at, even then at this point, you're looking at $80 plus a gram of fecal oil. And if you're on a cancer protocol that requires a gram a day, that's not going to work. People that are sick don't have $3,000 a month for medicine. So we got a lot of work to do. And the picture got more and more bleak for me as I drove across the state. And we're going to figure it out. I'm not going to spend all day on this. But what I thought was bad couldn't possibly be worse. That's the deal. That's the deal. And so, I did it a couple days ago, and I'll get out in front of it again. And I tried to temper, as my partner showed his teeth a little bit, I tried to temper and save relationships and apologize, because I did know that some of these people are handcuffed. And if some of these smaller businesses that got dispensary licenses are telling me something to be true, they've never lied to me before. Their intentions have been in the right place. They've given away licenses, and they've given away everything else. Please accept Hoosier Sophisticate's apology, because I understand how basic business works and how the supply chain works. And I understand that your hands are tied. And so now we switch gears and we just figure out how to flood this market with fecal oil, and also with education about fecal oil. Because how many people know that hormonal cancers are actually accelerated by high THC RSO? Do a lot of people know that? I think people that are potentially treating hormonal cancers might know that. But RSO isn't RSO isn't RSO. Not all RSOs are alike, or fecal oils. Use whatever word you like. Not all RSOs are alike, and not all of them are, what's the word I'm looking for? A good option for certain types of cancer. And so all of this has always been about education. However, now you're getting to the point where some of these cultivators and people were coming online, and they were worried about getting their cultivation up. And also, the state's going to have to explain why they granted multiple manufacturing licenses to the same companies at the same address when there's no square footage cap on the size of a manufacturing space. The state is working hand in hand. I'll say it. The state is working hand in hand with just a couple of people in this state, big money people, that have absolutely screwed patients. And, I used to wonder if we were hitting a little too hard with some of our skits. I used to wonder if, and you know what? Nope. There's a handful of you out there. And please, if any of the content that we make is hitting home and you feel like it's a personal jab, it's probably not. But if you feel like it is, and it resonates enough with you because it kind of matches up to some of your business practices, I implore you to change those business practices, because now we got to come even harder for people to show just how messed up this whole thing is. So you want to question, anybody's intentions or anything in this, or the amount of effort that it takes to do this, or what actual work looks like doing this? Ask my kids. Ask my kids who got to bed last night at 1 o'clock in the morning with their parents with broken hearts, because we're fucking up a hill. We're up a creek without a paddle right now. Moving on, I want to change things a little bit. I'm gonna bring in the smokiest of smoke shows onto the show this morning. My wife. Hello. Melissa Bliss Kohler. Hello. Hi, baby.
Hi.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm a little tired.
I'm also a little bit tired.
A little tired. I'm a little cranky.
I'm not cranky. I'm actually in a very good mood.
I'm fine. It's Friday. I'm okay.
It's Friday. You got 7 jobs.
Yeah, I got all the shit to do. That's true. I do have 7 jobs.
Good morning, friends.
Good morning. We did a couple of Rumi poems this morning.
I was listening. It was lovely.
Because Rumi is love. Rumi talks about love, and I'm just trying to be love right now. I'm trying to be love when it's hardest to be love. I'm looking fuck hard Friday. Okay, Skittles, relax, buddy.
Skittles,
be easy up in those trees, okay? I see. I'm worried about you, pal.
I know you're relaxed. I seen you in the bath last night.
It's not bullshit passive aggressiveness. I'm gonna need you to get your own account, bud. It's not bullshit passive aggressiveness at all. The lack of knowledge
on the good morning, Craig. The lack of knowledge on the consumer end of things is just it's unbelievable what we think we know and we don't. So
last night was legitimately heartbreaking.
It was heartbreaking.
It was very sad. The reality.
You want to know why? Because I walked through an empty facility. I saw the reality.
We walked through a very
multiple
really
empty facilities.
Sophisticated laboratory that had nothing in it, and they were to the point where they were like, if you know where we can find.
Yeah,
please help us.
If you've
we
got
went there like, what are
you
you going to do for us? And they were like, no, you guys don't get it. Like, please help us help you.
If you've got a they were asking me for basically a cultivator plug. Yeah. I mean, and these people have hundreds of thousands of dollars invested
They're very
in this thing.
smart people, and they're very good people, and these people are grassroots. It's a family-owned and operated business.
And we knew that about Cassville. We knew that about Ashley's deal. So anyway, whatever. We got work to do, and it ain't gonna get done bitching about it here or on anybody's post. I implore you guys to blow up every Clover post that ever comes across Facebook, please. That brought me great joy. But that's the reality is that there is no incentive for any of them to move forward. So we move forward. We get on. I want to talk about a couple of things today, babe, and we'll just see where it all goes. We can stay on the weed train a little bit.
Okay.
I started out with Mo patients really not standing a chance right now, and it's they do. They stand a chance, and their chance is in the community, is in the people that didn't need the state's permission before, and they don't need it now. Now we just got to figure out a way to take some of the risk off of the people that are willing to get this FECO oil to these patients, which has been happening, and so we just got to pivot. We just got to pivot. It's fine. Pivot. Jay-Z's going to pump $10 million into the cannabis industry. I saw that.
Jay-Z's going to pump $10 million into the cannabis industry for
minority-owned
businesses, and that is definitely worth mentioning.
It's super worth mentioning because our buddy Levon came in the group, V9 Grows. Check him out. He's my favorite little. I love going through his garden. That dude grows some serious medicine.
He's a lot of fun.
And he's a lot of fun, and he's fun in front of the camera. And he's asking a question that's important to him, which is this affects the first. This affects the. The minority community more than anything, and they've been, disproportionately affected by the war on drugs, and we've talked about that forever. That was when we started the Elgin Kohler Elgin 2020. Like that was the campaign was like, oh hey, by the way, we're the most incarcerated, country in the world, and by the way, that over half of the federal prisoners are for drug crimes. That's exactly right, Craig Morton. That's exactly right, my brother. You don't need permission from no man to help your fellow man. And so, but on the flip side of that, like, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And there are people that are I'm sure
glad there are Craig Mortons out there.
No doubt. There are people that are shouting on social media. Well, I've talked to MIPs, and they all have plans to make FECO. Let me tell you, those plans, they're not real inside of a year. The only people that could potentially make FECO inside of a year are currently operating and are showing absolutely no desire to do so.
Yeah, I have to be honest with you. So I don't typically have to play politics in cannabis. I am in a very special position where I've just been able to be friends with everybody, like no big deal. I don't have to dip my toe into anybody's business waters until, very recently, obviously.
Sure.
And so I've been personally doing research I'm sure everybody else has been doing far longer, And it's funny because I feel like I need one of those walls that detectives have with the red yarn going from one place to the next because it is impossible.
Like the meme from It's Always Sunny.
Who is actually who doing what. And
That's
everyone is terrified to say this person's a bad person because they don't want to lose their lives, you guys. Like they're
no doubt.
Like It's so much worse than I thought it was. It's
Amber,
so much worse. And I already thought it was bad based on
I did too.
being a fan of the show.
Honestly,
you know?
driving One Direction, and part of it was the time of the day. But my mindset going one direction versus the other was just completely flipped. And I'm always happy to spend time with with you guys in the car, and you guys are ride or dies, and I appreciate that, and it gives us an opportunity to let the kids tell us what the new cool music is or whatever.
It is really nice.
Buddy Boy, Mitchum's Denver OP never carried RSO or FICO. It was all about rec. Sona, they didn't support it for 5 years in Colorado. Why would they? No, that's exactly right. We got some stuff to talk about there, James, because I got, the interesting thing is that the cultivators that will remain unnamed for sake of my family's safety and financial future. But this is all going to come to light. There are cultivators essentially saying, yeah, sure, we'll give you some flour. You have to white label all of the product back to us so that we can sell it in dispensaries, in our dispensaries that are due to open. Even though we have our own manufacturing license and we don't want to take that part on.
I think
that's going on. There are people brazenly bragging about having more weed in the state that are buying up or have bought up entire cultivators, entire grows.
Yeah.
And are then sitting on that to turn it into, candy.
Starve them.
To turn it into candy, and yes, to starve out everybody who was granted licenses. And also, I heard of several people who got licenses that then, because they didn't get a cultivator, they might have got multiple licenses, but because they didn't get cultivation, their team backed out, and so they're just letting their licenses go back.
Yeah.
And we're speculating that the state, for all of those licenses that they do revoke, are not going to grant them to the next person in line.
Yeah.
Because they want to see what shakes out in court with all of these other licenses. It is fucked up, and they're just straight up, there isn't weed. There is, but there ain't enough, and I got it, and the fact that there are people operational without a way to make money off of their business is absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
I got a lot to learn, and I'm looking forward to learning it. But
we walked through a couple empty buildings last night.
It's pretty
empty.
Heartbreaking.
They're bone dry, empty.
Yeah. It was pretty heartbreaking.
Just I want to help in any way you can. Can cultivators provide to manufacturers? Well, I think that would be a sweet emergency rule. I want to know. I want someone to answer the question why Immaculate Conception only fucking applies to the people that are able to grow it in the first place. Why can't manufacturers immaculately conceive?
Are we sure that that's the
I'm very
the
sure
law?
that that's the law.
Okay.
Right now, they extended it, but it was only to manufacturers. And it doesn't extend to dispensaries. It doesn't extend to manufacturers.
I
It's
see, okay.
absolutely because the cultivators will not come off of it. I was helping a friend find product, and the cultivators producing are sold out till midsummer. The other problem is some of those cultivators that are saying they're sold out aren't. They just also have dispensary licenses, or they're vertical. And this is something we brought up, as soon as this passed. What is going to keep the vertical operations from hoarding all of their flour to run it through their own supply, to take it through their vertical operation?
Yeah.
What's going to keep them from doing that? Because now that's starting. So
thank you for your patience with me, because
we're all learning. We're all learning, but it isn't a matter of, hey, we're just trying to make. There's 4 people making money off of candy and soda, and there's 2 grow, and then also there's this illusion that like one company got 3 cultivation licenses. You can only have 3 cultivation licenses, but then that company also has this company, which also got 3 cultivation licenses, and this company, which got 2 cultivation licenses.
Hence the red yarn, yes. And so, just like I think. Okay, maybe I can ask this question. Do you think every industry has to deal with the corrupt nature of humanity, or do you think that this is cannabis specific? Because this is large.
Here's why
it's largely corrupt.
Here's why it's different for cannabis.
That's
why it looks so weird in here. Here's why it's different for cannabis.
Gotta turn the lights on, guys.
Yeah. The reason it's different for cannabis is because nothing else is regulated like it. And this fucking, 63 cultivators, whatever, 192 dispensaries, 86 MIPs, I think is what it is.
Which is the minimum that they had to give, and
That's right.
they're
No
treating
caps.
it as the maximum. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Going to the hood for green always worked for me and always will. That a boy, Skittles. I agree with you. You let this market fall on its face. You know what? If it's cheaper, if you live in Southwest Missouri, if it's cheaper to get a $100 temporary card and buy medicine in Oklahoma, go do it.
Yeah, take care of yourselves.
There you go. And this is what happens, Jessica. If anyone ever needs RSO, get in contact with me. Karina said, I will make it for you. There are so many people that are stepping up to make RSO. And all of that is important, and we need it. We need as much as possible. But this is simply not okay, and people need to be held accountable. You want to talk about corruption when it comes to licensing? That is all very true. I mean, I think that the corruption knows no bounds in licensing, and one of the gals that's running the program, her husband was writing applications. That's a problem. That's a conflict of interest. She should have stepped down from the post, or whatever. I mean, whatever, or just he wasn't allowed to do it. We have a problem because our department is you know what? Also, put a little bit on New Approach. I mean, let's do it. We all thought that we were doing the right thing. New Approach put this in DHSS's hands, and it's the wrong place. It's the wrong place. It's the wrong fucking place.
So speaking of
to
the
be
wrong
handling
place, so the Department of Health and Senior Services is in charge of what looks to me like agriculture, right? Like this looks.
Yeah,
like
this should be
farming.
This should be an ag job, and I believe Shamed Dogan's bill makes it. I know for a fact it does. It takes it away from DHSS. It makes it at the Department of Agriculture chore. And of course, that would be a rollout. And there's a lot of people worried that it would gut the medical program, and I think it would.
It would.
I think it would, but I also think it would make medicine. If medicine is medicine, and the only difference is the taxes that we're paying. But you're paying 4% tax on a $70 eighth versus 12% tax on a, whatever, a $25 eighth or a $30 eighth. Then whatever, like that doesn't. There is no difference in the quality of medicine, especially when manufacturers are flat out refusing to make FICO. They're flat out refusing to do it. The two that have it, and because here's the deal: if this was a medical program, that would have been the first medical product available. So, I'm going to stop talking about weed here shortly and talk about gaslighting. Actually, so
hang on just a second.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
I'm new to the politics of cannabis. I've heard secondhand philosophy for a long time, and I would be really, really interested to read any articles or have conversations with any of you that are subject matter experts. And so I'm just going to deep dive and learn as much as I can. If I'm going to speak on it, I'd like to speak on it intelligently.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I just, I want to have an adult conversation about it because it's, we got everybody's attention, and now we got to do something. Yeah. And so, this is the deal. I want you have like all of the best relationship advice, and I like talking about love, and I like talking about conflict resolution with you, and I want to talk about the subject of gaslighting because I've seen it come up in the group a few times.
Okay.
And I feel like, I think that I've been a perpetrator of gaslighting in the past.
I think all people
can
claim that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and I think gaslighting is also it's a tool of framing a narrative, right?
It is.
I mean, there's a bunch of
precisely
different. So
framing the narrative. Yeah.
So okay. I guess that's the main thing. So maybe I should look up what exactly the definition is, and then and then maybe I'll let you kind of talk about it and what you've seen as far as, coaching relationships and things like that.
Yeah.
And then see, how we can all be better and, avoid those situations or potentially, recognize them as they're happening.
Okay.
And that way we can have an idea of which way to move forward.
Yeah.
I don't know if we should do that now or in the second hour. I mean, I guess, we started talking about weed. Should I talk about Jay-Z's deal real quick
Yeah,
and
I think so.
then
I
just
think
kind of
it's absolutely
keep things together? Okay.
My younger sister's husband is a minority in the cannabis industry, and when I saw that this morning, I just was tickled straight up. Like, I've watched him. I can go ahead and drop Brennan's name.
Sure, yeah,
Brennan
absolutely.
England,
Owner of the Cola Lounge, absolutely. We talk about
Lounge.
Brennan's been on the show. We love Brennan.
Father of my beloved nephew, right? Like, I've watched him. Like many of the people, like Jason Long's been in the game for damn near as long as we've been alive, right? Like,
at least, yeah.
I've watched Brennan pull this community up by its bootstraps from the get, and back even when I was like, you're gonna go to jail if you talk about pot, dude. Like, you can't do that, right? And so this is a huge win. It's a huge win, and I think that somebody as influential as Jay-Z standing up for the industry in this way makes a huge statement to the general public, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know enough about the.
I kind of wish it was more money because he's got.
I was about to say I don't know much
really,
about the details. Like, I'm not going to scoff at 10 milli, but also I would, okay. Well, let's just see what's going on here. From the Hill, Jay-Z is leading a new effort that will put $10 million towards investing in minority-owned and black-owned cannabis businesses, which I believe there is only one in the state of Missouri, which is Larry Hughes' group. The musician and business mogul born Sean Carter will be teaming up with cannabis company TPCO Holding Corp., also known as the parent company, as part of the effort, the company announced in a recent release.
That's a great name for a company, the parent company.
The parent company.
Good for them.
The fund, the company said, is aimed at rectifying the wrongs of prohibition through diversifying both the business leadership and workforce of the cannabis industry. For the fund, the company said it will be putting up the initial multi-million-dollar amount and commit to contributing at least 2% of its net income to investing in minority-owned and black-owned cannabis businesses. Beyond investing, the fund will also support organizations and programs focused on diversifying the cannabis workforce through job fairs and placement, industry training and education, as well as social equity application support. The California-based company revealed the new effort in a release that also announced its completion of its qualifying transaction to acquire cannabis companies CMG Partners, also known as Caliva, and Left Coast Ventures. According to the Wall Street Journal, Monogram, a cannabis line Jay-Z started last year, will also be working with the company as a joint venture. Cool. Jay-Z, who serves as the company's chief visionary officer, said the recent news marked an incredible time for this industry. The end of cannabis prohibition is here, and the parent company will lead the charge to a more expansive and inclusive cannabis industry, he said. We're paving a path forward for a legacy rooted in dignity, justice, care, and consistency. The brands we build will redefine growth, social impact, and social equity. This is our time. I'm proud and excited to lead the vision of the parent company. In a follow-up interview, he also discussed the new fund geared toward helping minority-owned and black-owned cannabis businesses in particular. We're the ones most negatively affected by the war on drugs, and America has turned around and created a business that's worth billions. The news comes as the topic of decriminalization has also picked up more traction on Capitol Hill, with the House in December passing legislation seeking to decriminalize the drug nationwide. According to a past analysis from the American Civil Liberties Union, more than 7 million people in the U.S. were arrested for pot possession between 2001 and 2010. The same analysis showed that despite black and white people in the U.S. using cannabis at roughly the same rate, black people were almost 4 times more likely to be arrested for possession. It's nothing we haven't talked about on this show before.
Certainly.
We know that it's, people that aren't white end up in prison for nonviolent drug crimes at an incredible clip, and it tears communities apart. And there's no way out of it.
Families apart.
Yep. And I question the motives, especially after seeing how the industry has just been working, because, this isn't just like some dudes in Missouri that had this idea of how they were going to do this. They're mirroring what they've done in plenty of other states. That's why anybody who's in the industry, For instance, Josh Mitchum says that Oklahoma, he said it clear as day on Nate on Cannabis, that Oklahoma is a massive failure of a program. Bullshit. Oklahoma is not a massive failure of a program. If Missourians are upping and leaving to go and work in Oklahoma, that is a success regardless of what that program looks like. If people can go and pay a penny for RSO in Oklahoma, that is a success that Missouri is never going to sniff as long as the people that are in charge of it. So I always question kind of the motives behind some of these things, and I think that this is great marketing for whatever cannabis
he's
company.
He's not a businessman. He's
a businessman. Look, he's not like just giving away $10 million. He's going to make money back on that. He's going to make all of it back plus plenty. But that's investment, baby.
And still, so it's possible to go to somebody and say, "Hey, I'd like your business."
Yep.
For the sake of doing business with a person that I like, right? Like, it's perfectly fine to do that.
No doubt.
And it's also perfectly acceptable for everyone to profit from that because there's enough for everyone.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Well, we're less than an hour in, and it's actually, it's time to dance, babe. But can you hear it? Can you do it without it?
I can't hear it. I have a hard time with this. Like, maybe we can pretend to be statues, or maybe we can...
You know what I found? If you just lean into your caucasity and you just
the caucasity of it
all. If you do that, then
good for you, man. That's awesome.
If you can't hear it, I just unplugged the thing because I'll plug it in tomorrow so we know that it's it works. So did that work? Yeah, I did. Okay. Anywho, actually, we are at a point where it's about time for a break, I think. We'll do that. I want to come back. We're going to take some relationship questions.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about love. Anything that you guys want to talk about, we'll try and do that. I'll always grow my own, putting in a market that people are still locked up, and I'll pull from that market, which is why I consult. Oh, yeah, Kush Coach. You the man, dog. It's Friday, baby. It's finally Friday. I gotta wake up. I'm gonna chug this coffee down.
Day off tomorrow. What's that feel like?
I don't know that I do. I know it does feel pretty good. People with zero cannabis knowledge open grows to get rich. Yep. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Well, and what's crazy is like they wouldn't be allowed to do this. It's like this. I'll liken it to this. It's like Goldman Sachs allowing to, setting up a trading floor for Bitcoin a couple of years ago before the SEC got involved, because like they could go back to all of these just awful pump and dump practices. Like they're like, oh, cool. Nobody's looking over my shoulder to regulate me here. This is what I'm going to do. They wouldn't be able to get away with this in any other thing. So, it's the government working hand in hand with just a handful of people to put the brakes into. I don't need more coffee. I don't know. I don't know what I need, bud. I need a couple more hours of sleep, I guess. But this is only the way that it is because of how heavily regulated it is. Straight up. This is why I'm against all government regulation. I think it's fucking stupid, and I think that people always have this idea that like it's going to make the world a better place or whatever, but then what it does is it just puts assholes in charge, and then those assholes take advantage of everyone and then pretend that they're saving the world or something. So with all of that,
somehow victims.
Yeah, or they're somehow, yeah.
Good night.
Give me a fucking break. I found a pain management doctor in St. Louis who's helping people get RSO. I wouldn't put their name out there because that pain management doctor gonna be in trouble. Awesome, guys. We're gonna go to break. When we come back, we're gonna switch gears a little bit. And start talking about how we can be better lovers. I'll see you on the other side.
Oh, hey. It's Adam McChesney with Ms. Marketing. We specialize in lead generation, filling your pipeline, and taking care of your payments. Give us a call today.
Adam from Ms. Marketing took me from 10 leads to 300 leads in a month, and I became the strongest boy in the schoolyard.
He increased the revenue for my charter fishing business by 30% in 1 month. Ms. Marketing.
What was that Facebook algorithm? What was that Instagram? Ms. Marketing.
I know it's late, baby, but you got me thinking about my dream home.
Yeah, girl. You know, Bungeon Property Group doesn't just sell houses, they sell dreams. You know when the best time to talk about dreams is? In the middle of the night. That's why Bungeon Property Group is famously open 24 hours a day, so you can whisper sweet nothings in the middle of the night. Oh yeah. Tell me all your dreams of white picket fences, in-ground pools, and I'll find them for you. In an area with a low crime rate, gentle proximity to nice parks, walking distance to the grocery store, easy access to the highways. A place where you can offer a quality education to your children, all while feeling safe in your front yard while they play. Let me talk that dream house talk to you. Let me be your dream realtor. Adam Bondred.
Hey, DJ Shabba.
Hey, ladies. I'm gonna smoke a little weed, boy.
I wanna grow some trees, boy.
When I grow all the weed that I smoke,
And I blow all the trees that he grows.
and I smoke all the weed that I grow,
And I grow all the trees that he smokes.
well, I'm growing and I'm smoking.
So I go see Bo.
Puff, pass. And I smoke what I grow, yeah.
Grow active solution.
And I'm growing the hydro.
Bo knows hydro.
And I'm growing the hydro.
Grow active solutions.
Bono hydro. Bono hydro. Bono hydro. Bono how to grow. Bono how to grow. Grow active solution. Bono how to grow. Grow active solution.
I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Wanted poster looking like me. Checking the swamp man for a pretty girl. Being an outlaw in an outlaw world. Hey, I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Wanted poster looking like me. Walking my hound dog, surfing that swamp. Catching crow that do the sweetly stomp. Everybody do the sweetly stomp. It's a stomp. It's a wiggle, turn around, a little tickle. It's a stomp, move your feet, head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf.
Dude, man, get on down to Sweet Leaf Emporium and do that Sweet Leaf stomp, man.
Hey guys, it's me, Kippy the Crazy Koala Bear, and I'm here to tell you about James Carlton Insurance.
Kids, quiet down.
It's the best.
Kids, quiet down and listen to Kippy.
Grown-ups need insurance, and Uncle James can help.
Right on.
Grown-ups need insurance. He's got the best reviews on Yelp. Grown-ups need insurance if they want to protect their house.
Yes, sir.
Grown-ups need insurance if they want to properly bury a spouse.
That's a bit morbid.
Grown-ups need insurance if they drive a truck.
Okay.
Grown-ups need insurance just so they don't get.
Whoa, Kippy! You can't.
Well, I was just gonna say
cannot.
get in trouble.
Okay, well, it
you
sounded
don't
like you
wanna
were
get
gonna
in trouble.
sounded like you were gonna say something else. James Carlton, State Farm Insurance. You can find him online at carltoninsurance.net, or you can call him at 314-961-4800.
Native hemp inside of me. 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 I got 1,800 milligrams going real good down my throat. When I wake up in the morning and I need a pick-me-up, well, I grab my bottle of native hemp and I splash it on my tongue. Lap, lap, lap. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me. Native hemp inside of me.
Native hemp extract, available at HoosierSophisticate.com. Enter code HOSO, H-O-S-O, at checkout for an additional 30% off.
Welcome back, Hoosier Sophisticate, Hour 2. Mornings are for the Sophisticates.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Mornings are for the Sophisticates. How about that?
It's for the sleepy sophisticates.
The sleepy guys. I miss my Jason today. Where's he at? I'm pretty excited. We got some cool people coming in. What's the deal with this Cheryl Smith broad? What you doing there, Cheryl? What are you trying to get people? What are you trying to get people to do? What's the deal? What are you giving out money, Cheryl?
Hi, Cheryl Smith.
I'll give you.
How you doing, man?
My Cash App is Craig A. Kohler. Send it on over. Whatever you got. Send it out. Send it to me. Baby, what's gaslighting?
Gaslighting. Like you said before, it's a manic control of the narrative, right? And so if we look at gaslighting, we have to look at narcissism. And if we look at narcissism, once again, we have to look at codependency. I think that easily 95% of the population of the entire world suffers from some form of codependency. I think it's very normal.
So we should probably start with codependency.
We should start with codependency.
Right.
And then we move into how the codependent and the narcissist are the perfect match if you're talking about mental health inconsistencies, okay? Or a lack of skill inconsistency. I think the people who aren't codependent have unlearned that, okay? But so the narcissist, you have to look at their behavioral patterns, and then the gaslighting is like the end of their game. It's like the big fireworks finale before they get kicked out of somebody's life, right?
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
Okay. So everybody, I think, kind of knows what a narcissist is. Typically, if you're codependent, that means you care about somebody's problems more than they do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
that's
so
fair.
The narcissist, the way that they get the codependent, who has a deeply good heart, by the way, the codependent has a great heart. They were raised right, is what we would say. Okay. The narcissist.
Right, they're going to help the person they love through whatever.
Yeah.
We're through this.
Yeah.
We're in this together. Let's get through this together at no matter the cost. No matter the cost.
No matter the cost. And so the problem with codependency is the cost you pay, which is your soul, right? And so the narcissist game happens over a very long period of time. The narcissist makes a very good first impression. They're probably very attractive. They're very charming people, okay? And so after a while, it's called love bombing. Have you ever heard the term love bombing?
Well, I don't know if they have.
Well,
so.
they make you feel like the stars and the sun and the moon shine directly out of your own asshole. They make you feel like you are.
There have been nights where I'm not so sure that's not the truth. I sit in front of the mirror and I just hold it open and look at the galaxy.
It's different if you're playing that game with yourself, right?
Fair enough.
Somebody else is playing that with you. Proceed with caution. So in that, over time, a person gets worn down. Or if you begin to recognize that you're dealing with a narcissist, then you'll begin to pull your energy away, right? We can only be abused for so long before we realize it's us who keep showing up to abuse. So then once the narcissist has been removed, the proximity of has enlarged, they will begin what is called a smear campaign in politics, but it's really gaslighting if we're using proper psychological terms. And so gaslighting looks like them being completely apathetic to your station in life and to your perception of your own life, right? They're completely apathetic to if you are at your wit's end or on the end of your rope. They do not care, right? And they're happy to tell you that. And then they'll move even forward with maybe telling secrets, things that you've trusted them with, to validate their position. And then it moves into them just devaluing you as a human being, right? In public forum, though. And so they'll go back behind and they'll go to everybody that maybe mattered between the two of you, you know, and especially divorce is so nasty, man. You see this all the time in divorce. They'll go back to everybody around you and say, well, this person cheated on me, and this person did that to me, and this person did that to me, and my hands were tied, and I had to carry myself the way I carried myself. And so they position the entire argument as though only one person did something wrong, and it's never them. And they're always the victim, no matter what. No personal responsibility in that whatsoever. And then if they still don't get your attention and they haven't struck a chord in you, because that's what they want from you. They want your emotion. They're trying to pull something out of you. And so if they haven't done that, then they'll begin to throw tantrums publicly. And that looks like, blasting on social media. That means I go to your mom's house and I tell your mom she raised a bad person. That means I go, you know what I'm saying? You know, like, they will explode in the end because ultimately they are intellectually still and emotionally, more importantly, still children. Like unruly children, bratty children. Right.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I know that like the idea of gaslighting in a personal sense is like, you know, allowing someone, and I'm certainly guilty of this, and I think maybe I felt justified in it a couple of times because I really felt that my partner was being crazy or something like that. But I know that it looks like was
that a public hit on you?
It was
Craig?
not. No, it was not. I'm not that damn foolish. No, but you know, I believe that I have looked in a situation and been like, I don't know what reality you're living in, but that is not what's going on here.
That's an important point to make. And so reality is perception. And if you don't take the time to have that, what we call a come to Jesus moment, right? Like if you don't have that come to Jesus moment with yourself, you're like, whoa, am I screwing this up? Did I actually? And so I think that, like I said, everybody suffers. There's a spectrum here, right? So you could have a Nicki Minaj, right? And so sometimes we think that sociopathy is narcissism when it's not. If you're morphing and changing your entire identity to fit into the mold of something that you think is profitable, that's probably sociopathy. You probably need to see a PhD, right? But right below that is that high-level narcissist CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, bodybuilders, you know what I'm saying? Like people who are stuck on the meat suit, people who are stuck on the dollars, right? And then you have a lower degree of that, which is just like regular everyday people who were just raised by regular everyday people. And if you haven't been drugged by the universe by your hair to learn these things as a child, then you have to be actively seeking this information in order to grow the way that you want to. And the great news is there's many people, all of the Aubrey Marcuses and the Duncan Trussells and the Joe Rogans and the Mel Robbinses. There is absolutely enough information for you to get through this successfully. unless you feel that you can't do it by yourself after you've learned the information, in which time I would seek professional help to get through it. But you can absolutely get through it.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like so there is there's probably another level of it, right? So like with the cut and dry gaslighting conversation is like you're making someone to feel crazy about real emotions valid emotions that they're having.
You don't validate their experience in their life at all.
Right. Like because it doesn't fit into what you think the narrative should be, they're crazy.
Yes.
That was my understanding
We're really quick to use the word crazy.
Yeah,
guys.
that's my understanding
it's not a good
of
move.
gaslighting in like the the most basic sense. Then I think there's this other one which we kind of led off with, which is like controlling a narrative for the sake of
being seen as the
because
savior.
and
somehow.
because going back to the codependent conversation,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of times there are other relationships formed through that bond,
Yes.
right? And it's like the
Like
idea,
children
It's
or-
like the idea
yes.
of having a divorce and the couple saying, well, I'm keeping this one, or
Mhm.
I'm keeping this one,
Yeah.
and that's what's really interesting about having a group of friends, like we do, that's as close as we are. Is like
We're very, very close.
We have to be open to the experience that if you're going to urge people to find real love, right?
Yeah.
Then
You have to kinda
you
teach
have
them
to
how
well, you have
to
to
find
teach
the
them how, but
information.
you also have to be open to the possibilities or all of the things that come along with with love and all of the intricacies that come along with love and what that road looks like. And I mean, everybody I've ever seen in love, I've been a victim of gaslighting. It did make me feel like things were my fault. I've read so many books on this. I'm sorry.
Keep
I'm sorry to hear that
going.
you were, but I'm
Keep
glad that
going.
you're
If
on
you're
the other
going through
side of
hell,
it,
keep going.
and you're gaining some power through that.
Because it's a power play, right?
It's a total
you're
power play.
reclaiming your power, and so I urge you to question yourself: when did I give my power away?
Right.
At what moment in this relationship did I surrender myself completely to this other human being? I believe in unconditional love because I felt it from other people, but I don't necessarily subscribe to giving unconditional love unless it has been absolutely earned. And I'm talking about watching people's behavior periods over very long periods of time.
Mhm.
We didn't get married for 8 years,
Yeah.
right? Because we
Roughly,
wanted to be really, really, really sure that we were making the right choice. And I do not regret waiting that period of time at all.
Yeah.
And so, and not to say like I'm so much better than everybody else, like meh, meh, meh. I was in a codependent narcissistic relationship 2 times before I met this man. I have felt infatuation for someone and thought that I was in love, right? And so I'm looking for that more mature love. I'm looking for, okay, we've gotten past the chemical addiction to each other, and that happens amongst friendships as well. It's certainly not just for lovers, We've gotten past that chemical addiction, and so do I like this person when I'm not addicted to them, right? Like, is there value here when I don't have
When
to
my
get
chemicals,
a hit?
yeah, when my chemicals aren't just
Yes,
going haywire.
yes, yeah.
That's interesting.
It is very interesting.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I think you kind of touched on it a little bit, but one thing that I was kind of curious about, or not even curious about, but this is the nature of politics.
Yes.
Right? Like, it is framing a
Which is
narrative.
why I stay out of politics.
Yeah,
It does not spark joy.
It's framing a
No.
narrative, and then it's positing to be the savior in that narrative, and it's really interesting to kind of to see it. And I've and after having seen it, then seeing where I was guilty of doing it,
Mhm.
because it doesn't feel good. We've all been in
doesn't.
a fight with a significant other, and maybe had a good relationship with their extended family or something. And,
Yeah.
And found ourselves in love with their families as well.
Yeah,
and
my ex-husband's mom is one of my favorite people ever.
100%.
Yeah.
And so what happens then is when you start evolving is when those people want to come and jump your ass because they heard your spouse's side of the story or your significant other's side of the story, and you say, you know, if that's what you're being told, then I can understand why you're being upset.
Yes.
I'm not going to engage you in this.
Exactly. That's exactly the
I
point.
can't engage you in this. And also, like, then I have this weird thing where, like, am I gaslighting if I'm saying if that's what you're being told? You know, like.
So, okay, let's talk about that.
Yeah.
It's important. So, I do think that extremism in any form is a mistake, and it's a problem waiting to happen. And so, if we call all course correction gaslighting, then gaslighting loses its value.
Man, that applies to so much. Like if
and
you
and it's so easy to say, you're gaslighting.
Yeah,
me.
I'm being gaslit, so I don't want to be held accountable for my actions.
I don't have to be a grown up right now. No. Stop the fucking madness, y'all.
Yeah.
You have a responsibility to the people you choose to be in relationships with.
Yeah.
Up and to looking at yourself and saying, maybe I am showing my ass. Maybe I did throw a dish. That's not healthy behavior, right? Like, it's not healthy behavior. We've all had a rage moment in our lives. We've all had a moment of being blinded by
I threw a
anger
dining room
or
table
fear.
one time.
Yeah, I'm aware. I wasn't there that day.
No, I would
but
never do that with,
it was before
with you
me.
around me.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that.
A dining room table.
But so it's accepting the fact that I don't know what I don't know, and that's okay. But once somebody that I respect and love brings it to my attention and says, hey, you have this behavioral pattern that's wrecking me, you're then charged with evaluating the self, or maybe going to another trusted friend and saying, hey, have you noticed that I've had this behavioral pattern? What do I do? One of the reasons that I'm such good friends with my best friend is because I can go to her and be like, can you call me out on my bullshit right now? Because I truly can't see the forest for the trees. I'm so upset. Help talk me through this. And she's actually the reason that we got back together, right? Because she was like, I hear you, girl. And also,
yeah.
Right, like
sure.
a good friend is.
Yeah,
you
want to be maybe not necessarily validated, but especially heard, and then having someone be an arbiter, or not even an arbiter, but someone to say, yeah, all of that's valid, but you can be better, you can do better,
Yes.
we can do better.
Yes.
No.
And I say that the healed codependent or the healed narcissist says, how can I be better here?
Right.
Like, okay, I fucked up. Great. We all do. We're all going to continue to do it forever, right? I need to be reeled back in. What's the next step? How do I rectify this? And so people have different, just like people have different love languages, they have different apology languages, right?
Sure.
And so then you're charged with not only meeting that person in their love language, but also with their specific apology language if you wanted a fully complete, healthy outcome, right?
Sure.
So I'm a huge fan of an 80% outcome, right? Like, I'm happy with the B, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure.
So we can't expect perfection from people. And if we do, you're better off just living on a mountain by yourself, right? Because it's never coming. However, it is perfectly okay to call an asshole. It's perfectly okay to create a very hard line boundary with that person if they've been abusive to you. I don't like getting my face kicked in by my friends. And so, like we discussed, I'm very, very quick to eliminate people that I see have a negative behavioral pattern. Now, sometimes you might have an intuition that somebody's a little askew and not know why you don't like them. And then later you get a reason. But you should still give them the opportunity to prove themselves, right? You let people show you who they are, but you got to believe them.
Yeah.
You have to believe them when they show you who you are.
Yeah.
Who they are, excuse me.
This here gives a few examples of gaslighting.
Okay.
You got countering. This describes a person questioning someone's memories. They say things like, you never remember things accurately. Are you sure you have a bad memory?
Yes.
You have withholding. That's when someone withholds. They refuse to engage in a conversation. A person using that technique may pretend not to understand someone so that they do not have to respond to them. For example, they might say, I do not know what you're talking about, or you're just trying to confuse me. You've got trivializing, and this occurs when a person belittles or disregards the other person's feelings. They may accuse them of being too sensitive or of overreacting when they have valid concerns and feelings.
Yeah.
I'm bad about that one. I'm really bad about that one.
Every
I know.
person has one of
I'm just
these,
holding myself
right?
accountable. You got denial, and that involves a person pretending to forget events or how they occurred. They may deny having said or done something or accuse someone of making things up. You have diverting, also bad at this one. With this technique, a person changes the focus of a discussion and questions the other person's credibility. For instance, they say, that is just another crazy idea you got from your friends.
Yeah.
And then you have stereotyping. An article in the American Sociological Review states that a person using gaslighting techniques may intentionally use negative stereotypes of a person's gender, race, ethnicity, sexuality, nationality, or age to manipulate them. For example, they may tell a female that people will think she is irrational or crazy if she seeks help for abuse.
Yeah, no one can love you like I can love you. Nobody can do for you what I've done for you.
Right.
I'm totally irreplaceable.
Right. This
Unless your name is Elon Musk,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Check yourself.
I had a rage moment where I very ironically threw the book The Way of the Superior Man across the room. I felt like shit after. I also reread the book the next day. Kind of laughable in hindsight. I struggle with anger. Gaslighting is something I'm drawn into very quickly. Am I accurate in saying gaslighting is also known as pushing buttons?
It is pushing buttons. That's precisely what they're doing because they can't get the energetic feed from you. So we use a term called energetic vampire, right? And it's people who feed off of the energies of other people. And so when they're no longer getting that satiation, excuse me, my mouth this morning.
Satiation?
I had about 2 hours of sleep last night, thank you. When they're not being satiated by you any longer.
2 hours, you say, huh?
What did I tell you? What did I say to you?
I'm sorry. I just love the juice harp. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
Sorry, Coach. They push your buttons because they want your energy. If they're not getting it, they'll get it.
I'm sorry.
No. Yeah, they're pushing your buttons because if they can't have that lovey-dovey love bomb nom, 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 feed, they're going to have your passionate anger. And so that was an awesome list that you just read. However,
incomplete,
and there's a spectrum here, right? So you really could be talking to somebody who's making shit up.
Yeah.
And it's not wrong to say that. And so I fully believe, and you can attest to this, it's got to be super hard to be married to me, but I'm getting to the bottom of the motherfucking truth.
Oh, that's for sure.
I will get as close to the objective truth as I can. I will account for your subjective truth because I understand the human brain and the human existence, but what's the common denominator of our two truths, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so an easy way to see if you're dealing with a narcissist is that they have 2 or 3 people that they're very close to, maybe 4 people that are that inner, everybody's got those, that little handful of people. Every one of those people is being abused and no one else is. And so when other people find out that shit went awry, other people like, you know, oh, we're getting a divorce. I had no idea you guys had a bad, what? You know, like this is the and then they're like, this is the perfect opportunity to gaslight because then they're like, oh yeah, it was miserable. I've been tortured for years by this, right? And so they use that shock as an entrance now to this other person who now gets pulled into that inner circle. And it's just this constant consummation en masse, right? Like there's never going to be an end to that.
Yeah. Well, Whoa, what a place for someone who is adept at gaslighting to exist, right? Like you have that small circle, right? And in that small circle is codependency. Oh my, she's getting deep. And what's up, Jay?
Thanks, Jay. That was a good one. I love a good dick joke, man.
Let's see here. In Sheep's Clothing by George K. Simon is a great book to read to help understand and deal with manipulative behavior.
Read it twice.
Females can be just as narcissistic. My husband was battered and beaten down by a succubus until I came around. He was stuck in a very unhealthy, abusive cycle.
I think females often get away with this way more than males because we're pretty and we cry. Straight up.
So there's a passive gaslight and an aggressive gaslight?
Definitely. Yeah.
Right on. So
and then there's a passive aggressive.
And then there's a passive aggressive gaslight. And so that's so you know, if you have this small tight circle, right? And a lot of times it looks like, you know, I think we talked about just kind of being in a tight knit family where everyone kind of takes care of one another and kind of takes on whatever. And part of that is part of that is.
I just winked. I win.
Win what?
Sorry, we had the winking game.
We did have a
I just
winking game,
winked
but what
at
was it
Mike's
about
wink.
though? Was it Trevor asking about winking?
Just getting deep, ladies. Sorry, please continue. I apologize.
No, that's okay. I'm always down for.
We play weird games.
So, when you have like this tight knit circle that's kind of used to carrying the ball across the goal line, to use a football analogy,
Having a
right?
good
like
team.
always having a group of people to kind of get it to a certain point, and then there's someone that can punch it in. Aggressively passive. Ooh, that'd be a good skit. I'm gonna think about what that would look like.
I think that the intellectual is aggressively passive.
I'm gonna think about what that would look like, Mike. Anyway, when you have a tight knit unit like that, the codependency runs rampant.
Maybe.
Here's why I think gaslighting works so strong within that circle, right? Because it's easier to tell yourself a narrative, and it's easier to tell the world a narrative, something, as long as at the end of the day you've got that 2 or 3 people that are going to forgive your actions because this is just par for the course.
Okay, so if that's the case, I would say that's an unhealed friend group, right?
My joint went out. Can I get a gaslight? Yeah, sure you can.
You got all the jokes today, man. You're on it today.
Chris Coach is the guy. You can lighten it up as much as you want, man.
I would say in your friend group, if you're on a team, it's okay to have a team member that sprains their ankle mid-game. That it happens, and we are there. I will literally hold you up and walk you off the field so you can bench. However, if you hit yourself in the ankle with a hammer,
yeah,
over and over and over again, there comes a point where I'm just gonna let your ass lay in the grass.
Yep, no doubt.
Right?
No doubt.
So you have to be willing. You as the codependent have to be willing to cut people out of your life.
I mean, I could get you a gaslight, but I really think you aren't remembering where you put the torch in the first place. And you always seem to do this to me, just like your mother. Did I do it right? That's pretty good gaslighting. Not too bad. I'm trying to think of what aggressively...
When the student becomes a teacher.
I'm trying to think of what aggressively looks like. And I think it's something like, hey, look, you got really good ideas and your points are valid, okay? And I think I agree with you, and I'm going to take some...
I'm an asshole.
I'm going to take some time to think about this because I think that you make a really valid point, and I think that we can move forward with this.
So this is typically me in the good.
Just being a little aggressively passive.
I'm obviously not okay right now. Right, like.
Holy shit, my joint went up. Nice work.
Yay! So that is. So what do we do with a gaslighter narcissist?
Well, this is okay. So then this is the
because we can't just talk about what it is. Let's talk about what we do with it.
Let's put ourselves in the shoe of someone that's being gaslit.
Okay.
Especially if that let's put ourselves in the shoe of a very evolved person being gaslit.
Yes.
Because a lot of times gaslighting does look like mutual people being handed a narrative.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
And mutual friends, mutual loved ones being handed a narrative.
Yeah.
And there is a level of let's get the truth out there.
Yeah.
And then there's a level of
we don't air dirty laundry.
We don't air dirty laundry, and there's a level of I walk a different path. I walk a higher path.
I want to be better than this.
I want to move past this. I want to, just move forward.
Yeah.
What does that look like healthily?
Okay. So
while still trying to maintain relationships, and also you can very easily be gaslit by someone you love and who you want to see succeed, and you want all of the best things for.
Right.
And so, when you feel as if you've been isolated as the one being gaslit, it's real easy to kind of just reach for whatever grenade you can find first, and then just kind of do that. But there's a lot of collateral damage that you don't necessarily want to cause.
Yeah.
So what does it look like? Does it look like silence? Does that silence ultimately kill you inside? Does it look like changing the narrative
Okay,
or
so let's-
putting on a different side of the story? What does it
You're
look
asking
like?
too many questions.
Sorry.
Let's start with the first question.
Sorry.
So, the intellectual being narcissistically abused is really interesting. It's fascinating to me because we have what's called, we call it smart man's disease. I'm too smart to feel stress. I'm too smart to incur hurt. In the spiritual community, we call it spiritual bypassing. This isn't actually happening. I am love and light. I refuse to allow myself to dip down into the lower chakras, into the lower energies, malice, greed, hate, deceit, anger. I don't want to feel those things because it makes me uncomfortable to feel them. So I'm opting out of feeling bad. That's a you problem. That's not a them problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
And so, like I said, this is you have to have an entire education to get through this. It's a worthy pursuit. What else are you doing, right?
Yeah.
And so now moving forward into that intellectual who has smart man's disease, moving into I don't want to burn this bridge. There is value here. I don't want to get divorced. I do love you, right? And so maybe it's harder for me to see the things that I loved about you in the first few years, maybe, right? But now we have something that's not easily broken apart. I don't want to trash talk you amongst our friends. I am taking the higher road. I think the higher road is important. And then I think that if that person still doesn't meet you when you've been kind, and it's happened more than 3 times, maybe more than twice, I'm very fast on this. I move quickly on this. I am a bridge burner. I am happy to burn bridges because I know how to swim.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think that give your kids a 6th, 7th, and 8th chance.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Give your mom a 6th, 7th, and 8th chance because there's and I hate to lean into God on this, but there's God present there for me, you know?
Sure.
Through that genetic link. Even maybe a step parent or adopted parent situation, there's a link. Try harder for your family. But after that, if that person isn't coming around, then I do believe that cutting them out completely is the only true path to freedom. Now, you have to understand that they haven't learned that lesson, so they're going to be released now onto others. And you're not the first person that they've done this to, and you're certainly not going to be the last person that they've done this to. And you have to immediately begin to forgive. What is torture? What is emotional trauma and manipulation that can cause PTSD in your life? You know, you don't just have to be a soldier at war to have PTSD. You can definitely have PTSD from being in a narcissistic relationship, which honestly will make you move to another narcissistic codependent relationship if you're not careful. But yeah, cut them all the way out.
Yeah. Well, okay.
Ghost.
And I understand. I think I get that part for sure. I don't think that that's the biggest. Whatever people's, I'll kick a motherfucker out of my circle so quick.
So quick.
Yep,
So
my wife's
fast,
right there with you,
man.
Coach. I mean, it was when I was a little bit younger. Kind of one of my mantras was may the bridges I burn light the way. I've since had I have a little different idea of moving through things, but I really appreciate having a partner that has that thing. Because my wife keeps me in check. My capacity to forgive and my patience is
like he's got Jesus level forgiveness, you guys, for real.
Yeah.
But to a point that you're hurting yourself now, aren't you?
Yeah.
We're mad at them for doing what they do, but we just keep showing up, don't we?
Yeah.
That's a you problem. That's not a them problem.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. Well, and I guess that's the thing, right? I think the hardest part, and because I seek the not the approval of my peers, but I want to be respected by my peers, especially by any shared peers. That like I can get over the personal interaction of having been gaslit. It is a little bit different when I feel like everybody's minds have been shaped to a different reality of how I carried myself in a situation.
Okay.
And that I think is the toughest, would be the toughest conundrum for me to work through.
Right.
Is like, well, there's what's being said that everyone feels good about. There's what actually is so, and there's how I fit into it and
Yes.
how I'm being perceived through it.
Yeah.
And how I'm being valued or devalued in it unwillingly, I guess. Like
Yes.
this is not some,
You don't have the opportunity to defend yourself.
And I think you maybe do, but then what does that look like? Then that looks petty. Then that looks, it's
Yes.
like, that's why gaslighting is so crazy, is because the first person to market pretty much wins, right? Unless they're called on it, or unless their actions don't really ever match up with what they're saying and the other person's does.
Yes, sir. You're right in the right spot. So your reputation should precede you. Your reputation as being a person of integrity or a hard worker
Yeah.
or a good husband or a great father should precede you. And I have been deeply damaged in friendships and in romantic relationships. And when I was younger, I definitely went to bat for myself, defending myself. And that's not to say I didn't cause any of those problems, because let's be serious. Like, all humans have to learn and grow.
Mhm.
No one is exempt.
Mhm.
And so I would go to bat for myself because the truth needs to be known, right? I don't do that anymore because it's an absolute dramatic waste of my time. The people who know me and the people who I call friends know me, and I don't care about anybody else's opinion.
That's right.
I don't. And furthermore, we got receipts now, y'all. We've got text messages, and we've got we don't have to posture ourselves in a defensive position because I don't play your game.
Yep.
I opt out of that game completely. I am above it. I am better than that. And if we're going to snob out on anything, I'm snobbing the fuck out on narcissistic gaslighting because we are fucking better than that.
Yeah, totally.
We are grown-ups.
Totally. And
right?
that's no doubt. I think that the capacity to forgive and hold someone through that should directly correlate to their, I don't want to say age, but definitely to where they should be in their evolution based on their surroundings.
Right. We talked about it yesterday. You're 18, 22, 26. All right. You're 62, 63. No, baby.
Yeah, that's right.
It's you.
I mean, I remember my dad, I remember my mom throwing my dad like his 40th birthday party, right?
Okay, yeah.
And like as kids, I mean, that was the deal, right? Like over the hill, like 40 was over the hill. And that was the big, and like, but based on, the lifespans of a lot of people,
27
you're going to be
minutes,
40
right?
in a minute. I'm going
Yeah.
to be all up in it. But
Can't even help yourself,
I
can
really
you?
can. I'm all
boned up.
but like they're like Steve and I've talked about it on the show before. Like, I think some of us have this idea that because of how we saw reality and the adults around us and the average people that our adult parents had us around and the quality of life they were providing at a certain age, it just seems like, hey, when you get to this point, this is just going to happen.
Right.
And you discount all of the effort and work that it took for these adults to get to this point. And I think that that's something that we're losing. I think society is losing that on
Not
the
us,
regular.
though.
No, but I'm saying on the whole, I think a lot of people comparing what's happening in their life to people's highlight reels makes them feel stuck, makes them feel like they're not doing enough,
Yeah.
makes them feel like a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I thought for sure by the time I was 36 years old, like I had it all figured out,
Sure.
And I'm learning something new every
Right.
day, and I'm having conversations
too.
about gaslighting now, and I hope that if I'm
so excited to be having this conversation with you.
If I do find myself in a situation where maybe I am the one gaslighting, then I need to. I feel like talking about this and bringing this to front of mind will allow me to catch it and correct it beforehand.
Right.
Right.
So the play is to throw yourself under the bus, right? To immediately, hey, I fully realized that I was not in integrity in that conversation,
That's
and
right.
I did skew it to match my perception,
Yep.
and I did invalidate you and dehumanize you through that, and I apologize. What can I do to make it better?
That's right.
And then whatever that person says, if you value that relationship, you're going to apologize in their apology.
Yeah, you're not going to sit there and try and decide if it's reasonable or not. You're going to figure out
you
how to
can't
make
say,
it right.
I'm sorry you felt this way, right? Like the play is, I'm sorry I did the things that you had to then take on energetically, right?
Yep.
how do I make it better? And then if you do value the friendship and you do realize that you were wrong, do just exactly what they ask, right? So somebody might say, you know what, you can take me to dinner and we're good. Or somebody might say, it's going to be a while. I need some space.
Mhm.
Or somebody might say, I never want to see you again.
Mm-hmm.
And then your job is to never see them again.
Yeah, your job is to accept it. And how
Yes.
boy, how hard is that?
It's very hard.
Very, very difficult. Is it possible to be a gaslighter but not a narcissist?
Yes. I think that we can be raised by people that have these issues, and so we could be, we can be trained in narcissism as young children, but not have the clinical issue. Certainly, like you can lean into narcissism just like you can lean into humility. I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a character trait for most, right? But it is movable and shapeable and permeable.
Yeah, it's
also.
weird. I feel like gaslighting also is like it's this tool, right, that makes telling hard truths or half truths a little more palatable.
Well, that's one of the things they do. They'll
They
tell
get
the
a little
story
bit of
and
the
then they
story.
put one big shocking truth on the end, and that
Yeah.
gives them that energetic in with you, and now they've got you in their pocket.
Right.
Right.
Or they'll
I win because I have the opinions of people on my
or
side.
and this is something that you know, one of my old
It's the
one of my
desire to
old sales
win.
managers, and I mean I've heard this repeated many times, and sometimes I take this action is like, you know, it's always easier to ask forgiveness than permission.
Yeah.
And so there's also this thing where it's like if you come out and you're comfortable saying I fucked up, you know, which is good.
It
Being able to apologize is good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. However, if it becomes this tool just to kind of lessen the blow over what you're actually not doing,
Yeah.
that becomes problematic.
So society takes care of this by exclusion,
Yep.
right? And so that person will be excluded over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until finally they're like, either they their unhealed trauma becomes chemical abuse. They have to numb themselves from feeling the pain of loneliness. We are primates, and our hierarchy matters, and our tribe, the people around us, actually do matter to us biologically. You guys, we're happier people when we're with our friends and family. We heal faster when we're being touched constantly,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
And so the coldness of separation should quote quote motivate them with fear.
Yeah, totally,
Sadly.
totally.
Yeah, it's not a positive motivation at all.
No, it's not. It's not. But also, you know, a lot of times used as a tool. That's the thing, right? It's like you what you do is, and I'm sure I've used this before in order to win favor. What you do is you martyr yourself in front of the masses in order to evoke empathy or sympathy.
Yes.
Right? You martyr yourself, and then what that does is that gets a bunch of people to run to your side.
Yes.
To validate all of the other things that they do love about you.
Yes.
And then in that,
Because the narcissist is
yeah,
charismatic.
and
they
then,
are lovable.
And then in that, all of that love, all of those chemical hits that are happening from all of these people, doubling down on, well, everybody's allowed to fuck up. To err is human, you know. But look at all of these other great things about you.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yes. But that's not what we're talking about, because you can't fix your
focus
problem.
on the topic of the
you can't fix your
conversation.
problem. You can't fix what you're doing wrong or who you wronged. We're not going to start celebrating all of the good things that you are until we acknowledge and we fix the thing that you broke.
I think that's a little backwards. I still want to celebrate who they are first.
Okay.
And also, because if you're my friend, it means I find value in you. It means, you know, like if I've contracted my life to you, if you're my husband, I find a lot of value here. I want you to know all of the wonderful
I
things
want to fix
about
all
you.
these things. I want to let you know you're
This
being
is
an
why
asshole
I'm
because I
staying
love
here.
you.
Yes. This is why I'm staying here, is because I deeply love you.
Mhm.
Or we own a house together, we have children together,
Mm-hmm.
or we're in the same friend group, and it would absolutely dismantle our lives to throw
Sure.
a wrench
We got to
into
figure
that.
out how to move through
We've
this.
got to figure this out.
Yeah, and so therein lies, you know, kind of going back to what we were saying, therein lies one of the real struggles, is like to be the person that is gaslit, but care about the person gaslighting them so much, but not just the person gaslighting them so much, but the co-creation that the two of you made, caring about that so much. Sometimes, most of the time, the person being gaslit, if they are either A, more emotionally responsible, or B, maybe more empathetic, or, that person just kind of eats shit for the sake of not blowing up not just that person, but the co-creation.
Okay. So I say, if the person has abused you.
Cynthia says her plant looks so much better.
I love you.
Did you
girl.
water it?
I did
today?
water it. I haven't watered it yet today.
You better do it right now.
It's watered, Mama. We got it. I say that if the person is your partner who is in hot pursuit of evolution and they're learning and they're willing to grow and they're willing to call themselves out on their bullshit, do that. Don't burn the boat.
Sure.
But otherwise, you better throw that motherfucking bomb right in the middle of that shit. Blow it up because it's not for you, right?
That's fair.
It's not for you.
That's fair.
And so telling the truth and being in integrity and not to anyone else, but to you.
Mm-hmm.
My head and my heart are congruent, right? I can look myself in the mirror at night.
I've done the hard work.
I know, and it might not have been a perfect game that I played because it's a fucking game, believe me. It might not. I didn't play that hand perfectly, but I got real close. I did my best, and I bit my tongue for love.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm perfectly fucking fine to walk away from it, right? But I'm kind of an asshole in this because I do go the extra step of saying, I want you out of my life, and this is exactly why.
Well, I mean, I think the hardest part about that is to be handed an itemized list that you can check shit off to fix, but at that point it's too late. That's the hard part. And you know what? Hopefully that's something that person can carry with them into the next time that they think
because
that they're going to
know.
find someone who's weaker that they can just continue their pattern of abuse on.
But I say things like, they might not know, but you and I know.
Yep.
And that's all that I need from that.
That's right.
I'm happy to be lonely with my integrity. I'm my own best friend. I'm never alone.
That's
right?
fair. And I think that people that are doing the work, I think that
I have so much space for people who are doing the work.
I know. I think that people that are doing the work recognize from the outside. I think that people doing the work recognize the situation when they see it, especially when there is a pattern. A multi-year pattern, or when there's a pattern, it's a little bit more difficult.
You can look back into like age 4, 5, and 6 and see this, right? It doesn't begin in adulthood.
Sure.
This begins as the bratty child that throws the tantrums and doesn't get corrected.
Yep. Yeah.
And whose mom was a narcissist and whose dad was codependent, or vice versa. Right? Or whose mom was a single mom and she verbally dismantled dad.
Sure.
Constantly, or you know what I'm saying? Like,
sure.
there's a ton of different environments that can produce that. But like I said, I think like 95% of people are in some way affected by this.
Yeah. Moral of the story is, I guess, because we're gonna head into a short break here in just a second, and I got you know what, there was a bunch of quotes, so I guess maybe while we're still on it, let's just get into the comments. Well, the first thing that should probably be done is being in a place to recognize and accept the manipulation and gaslighting, right?
Yep.
I would say, I guess that's what I struggle with. Seems like a very thin line. Not sure what that is.
There is a very thin line. And you have to get right with yourself and say, is this really happening or not? Am I making this something it's not? And tell yourself as close to the truth as you can get, right?
Coach says they do the same thing. I probably should keep up with these a little better. My wife gives me shit for it. Hey, Craig, this is totally unrelated to the current topic, but I started watching The Boys last week, and I'm addicted. I only watched it because it was your pick of the week a while back, and I gave it a chance because of that. I'm not a superhero movie fan, but that shit is legit. That shit is legit. My wife thinks I'm the fucking weirdest dude in the world for watching it. That fucking show is so good. I can't get enough of it. It's so good. And there's
Rapist Superman, really?
Huh?
Rapist Superman?
Oh, dude. I mean, it's just so good. You got to watch it from the beginning. I know you would love it if you did. Yes, no contact affects them so deeply they lose power. That is, yes, you're correct. However, if hundreds of people, or if a group of friends, or if your shared loved ones come together to coddle them through it, I don't think that isolation is even, they don't feel it because they're flooded with chemicals from a bunch of people that don't know. That's where they draw the value.
No contact isn't taking power away from them. It's reclaiming your own power.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
You have to take your heart and eyes away from that. If you make the decision, and it should be a very grown-up and thoughtful decision that you're making to cut people out, okay? It shouldn't happen as a reaction, okay? If you make that decision, you have to... I'm sorry, it's just reframing in my brain all over again from the beginning, but like... There's a book called Codependency No More. And I think that if you feel like you're personally affected by this, you can buy it on Amazon for probably $4, written by a brilliant doctor, and that will give you all the answers. And so this is not something that gets healed properly. And if you're asking questions about it, I know that you're probably deeply affected by it.
Codependent No More by Melody Beatty.
Thank you. I want you to learn as much as you can to heal your life, to have the best quality of life you can, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Nobody here wants to, nobody here wants to build rockets, right? Like, nobody here is Elon Musk. And so we have to, you know what I'm saying? Like, Elon Musk is already Elon Musk, right? Like, if you were going to be that person, you would already be that person, and you're not. So let's tell the truth about where we are and who we are.
Sure.
And just maximize the wonder and delight of our third dimensional reality.
No doubt. No doubt. I also, like, there's this thing where maybe having been or being the victim in a gaslighting situation, obviously there is love for the person that you're codependent with, you know, and I liken it.
Is it love or is it trauma bonding?
Probably dependent on the situation.
Okay.
And what happens is then you see them. You're as close to the situation as anybody.
Yes.
You're the closest person to the situation.
Yes.
And you realize that what they're doing is self-destructive.
Yes.
And if you want to put a different filter on it, this looks like addiction, right?
It is certainly addiction to the
so
chemicals that are released.
100%.
Absolutely.
And so this gaslighter then goes to where nobody has any of the information, or they have what they think is the information because they're given a picture. And he or she seeks the approval of those people to get those chemicals pumping. Meanwhile, the person being gaslit has just called out the person that they probably love more than any one of those people that will give them that chemical hit, is calling out the destructive behavior, not just because of how much they care for the gaslighter in this, but also because they care about all of the people that depend on the gaslighter, or that tie into the gaslighter.
Yeah.
So the person being gaslit a lot of times is the one telling the hard truth.
Yeah.
Right? More times than not, I would say. Like,
yes.
They're the person saying, this is what you're doing. This is why it's destructive. I love you too much to continue to allow you to act like this. And if you don't correct course, I can't have you be a part of my reality anymore. And there's a couple of different ways that the gaslighter can move. They can wake up and they can say, fuck, I care about this person, this relationship, this thing too much in order for me to not correct course. Or B, I'm just going to go where I'm coddled, where people will make an excuse for me, where people will celebrate all of the things that don't have anything to do with this, because it feels good to be cradled.
Sure.
And
expect it.
Yeah, 100%. Expect it. And but more times than not, the one being gaslit is the person telling the truth that nobody else has the balls to tell. Right.
So I say, we don't air dirty laundry publicly.
100%.
You're more than welcome. It's not gossip if it's happening to you. Okay.
100%.
You're more than welcome to tell that deep inner group your side of things and your experience, and you also go get coddled, and you also go get help because you need it.
Sure.
You need to be healed, right?
Yep.
But let your friends decide who they want to be friends with. I have no attachment to who my friends are friends with. I don't have any attachment to who my friends work with. I barely have attachment to who you're friends with, right? Like barely. I'm not so audacious as to say that person did me wrong. You can't ever speak to them again, right?
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, that's crazy. That's
unhealthy.
Yeah, that's really unhealthy. And that's what like divorce in a family looks like sometimes, where like, somebody was your uncle for 15 years or something
And
like that, and now he's just gone, and it's like, I'm not, and you had a relationship with that uncle, and you're like, what, am I supposed to be gone too because me and you share DNA? Like, what's the, that's a tough one.
We have big weird rules for this part, because if that person is a sex offender or has harmed or abused a child in some way, we announce that from the rooftop as loud as we can.
Yeah.
We do register sex offenders.
Yeah, your loyalty at that point is to what's
But
right.
after that, you just kind of gotta let it be what it is. If you don't want to be seen as a tantrum throwing brat, because that's what you will be seen as. He was mean to me, right? Like you will be seen that way. You can choose how you want to move through it. I think it's situational. I think that your group of friends matters a lot, because if you don't have a group of evolved friends, I wouldn't ever have that conversation with them. But if you do have a group of evolved friends, the conversation looks like, I feel like I was gaslighted. Can you help me see myself through this? I need some support right now. I'm not okay. I need help. What do I do? What do you think I should do? What would you do in this situation? And I don't ever say, let's crucify this person.
No, yeah, no,
we
no.
don't have
no
torches and
pitchforks.
pitchforks,
Yep,
right?
yep.
You can't. You can't be taken seriously as an adult and carry yourself that way. From my perspective, from my experience with our very own friend group.
I agree. If you want to be perceived as the responsible adult in the situation, then you have to exercise a level of patience and understanding, and that, but also respect for yourself.
Yeah, do no harm, take no shit.
Yeah.
Fuck around and find out.
Yeah, no doubt. God damn, I love you, woman. Okay, so he started watching The Boys. I'm going to pick back up here.
Yeah,
Actually, it does kind of tie in a little bit, because I feel the show is more about highlighting the emotional flaws of humans, especially when they are given extremely powerful gifts. That is the entire purpose of the show. The best part about The Boys is it shows how easily minds are manipulated by action. And I mean, I went from like, I've always entertained conspiracies or, there's other things too. Like, after watching the show, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. False flags would be so incredibly easy to carry out. Like, and that's ultimately that's what the show is about. It's about creating a bunch of problems in order to be a problem solver, which is also like a gaslighting thing.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, let me create a
the
problem
micro and
so
macro
I can
is
be
real.
Yeah, let me create a problem so I can be the messiah, the savior of this problem, So anyway, moving down there, Kush Coach says, I had to cut my mom out of my life, and if you can do that, you can cut anybody out of your life.
Indeed.
Mike said he had to cut.
I'm proud of you, Kush Coach, because that
said
shit is hard.
He didn't burn, or he had to burn a bridge with his mom. He can burn any bridge. And Mike said he had a similar situation. He didn't know if he burned it entirely, but it was definitely closed for construction for a while.
Good for
I've
you.
been there, buddy. I'm all about that.
Yeah,
it can be extreme.
You can have legal separations in
yeah.
friendships. You can say, I need a timeout from this, for sure.
We used to call it a
3-day
fuck you or a 2-day fuck you, just kind of depending. I was like, babe, need a 3-day fuck you. And then we wouldn't talk for 3 days. And I'd listen to the National and cry into a pillow.
And you would listen to the National.
And cry into a pillow.
And cry.
Until she came back. It can be extreme on both sides, over-forgiving. Speaking of which, new Matt Berninger album that was released in 2020, and I was listening to it this morning, and
how did you have time to do anything this morning?
Well, I got to drive.
Are you made of magic, sir?
I am made of magic. I can move water. I had a major falling out a few years ago. That's the one we were talking about. I think it's important to be able to recognize what's fucked up inside you and change it. I took a heroic dose to realize that. Like Missy said, you can't dwell on negative shit, but you can't ignore it.
Yeah, Coach, the first time I was ever in ceremony with the ayahuasquero, I foolishly asked for humility. I do not recommend. 1 star. 1 star, do not recommend. But I grew a lot as a human because... straight up, the most dangerous narcissist is the intelligent narcissist, right? Like the most dangerous sociopath is the intelligent sociopath. And when I had multiple people in my life being like, you need to get off your high horse, homie.
Yeah.
then I was like, oh, humility.
Boom.
Difficult.
Boom.
Difficult to look at yourself that
Cynthia
way.
says it looks so much better. And then I told you to water it, and she said it's fine. She said these conversations are so hard to have, but so necessary. Allie says, alone with integrity. She loves it. And Cynthia was probably agreeing with something you said because you're the smart one here. I think we should go to break. I wanted to talk about, I didn't watch the inauguration the other day.
Me either.
I don't like pop music. I say it all the time.
I don't like politics.
Yeah,
So
I
there's
get it.
that.
I love politics.
I know you do.
It gives me an opportunity to
Politics
to
makes
gaslight
me-
to gaslight at grand scale in politics. That way I can get all that poison out. No, but more than anything, they're just divisive. The very nature of politics are divisive. I think that every politician should have to vaporize toad venom. Like a lot of times. I think they should sit in a 7-day ayahuasca
60-day
ceremony.
ayahuasca.
Yeah, a 7-day ayahuasca retreat
60,
with the 60-day
You're gonna
dieta
lead all the people?
leading into it. And then once they get out of that, then I want them thrown into the just the throes of a major psilocybin journey. And
Then they have to go to war.
And then they got to do Vilca or Yopo.
Then they have to go to war as a humbled warrior.
That wouldn't
and
hurt.
know what it means to send people to war.
And then after that, so like if I'd keep like our Constitution kind of in place. And then what I would do is for the presidential requirements, you got to be 35, you got to be a natural born American citizen,
yeah.
and you have to have dined with plants for one entire calendar year of your life. And if we did that, politics wouldn't be so divisive because we would all
politics wouldn't exist.
Yeah, we would all be.
We would just be back
drawing
at the
off of the
natural
same
hierarchy.
connected experience. So, but with the inauguration, before
Congratulations, Democrats.
yeah, sure. Congratulations to anybody who won. It's great. And before Joe Biden fell asleep in his recliner, there was a tremendous poem.
Did you just take a hit at the president of the United States?
I took a swipe. I like it.
Okay.
Take a little swipe every now and then. A little swipe. He's such a dork. Everybody's such a dork in this whole thing. I was like, I said this for years. It's like, can we win? Can we win being represented by a couple of old nerds like this?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. But there was a tremendous little poem that was read on the Capitol steps by a young lady named Amanda Gorman.
Okay.
And I want to read that on the other side of the break.
This was during the inauguration?
This was during the inauguration. Okay. Really, really, really tremendous poem.
Tremendous.
So I am going to, we're going to take this to commercial, and when we come back, I want to cover that a little bit, and then we're going to talk about, going to talk about the love. We're going to talk about the love we want to make in this world. This is Hoosier Sophisticate, and we'll be right back.
James Carlton. Insurance 314-961-4800.
Handsome,
Amazing.
astonishing,
Astounding.
fabulous,
Incredible.
fantastical,
Phenomenal.
prodigious,
Stupendous.
unbelievable,
Wondrous.
divine.
Fantastical.
No, seriously, he's fantastical.
You got a house.
Go on and get it insured.
You got a car.
You gotta get it insured.
You got a life.
Go on and get it insured. CarltonInsurance.net.
Fantastical. Stupendous. Fantastic.
Hey, boys and girls, I'm talking about native hemp extract. That CBD.
That CBD.
Get inside of me.
Inside of me.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Sweet delicious CBD. That CBD.
That CBD.
Got the CBD. get it from me.
I can't.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Inside of me.
Inside of me.
That CBD.
That CBD.
Inside of me.
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 No. Inside of me.
Inside of me.
Inside of me. Native hemp extract. 1,800 milligrams of total cannabinoid goodness from Pike County, Illinois. Get yours at HoosierSophisticate.com.
I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Wanted poster looking like me. Checking the swamp man for a pretty girl. Being an outlaw in an outlaw world.
Hey, I'm an outlaw, check it and see. Wanted poster looking like me. Walking my hound dog, surfing that swamp. Catching crow that do the sweetly stomp. Everybody do the sweetly stomp.
It's a stomp, it's a wiggle, turn around, a little tickle. It's a stomp, move your feet, head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf. Head on down to Sweet Leaf.
Dude, man, get on down to Sweet Leaf Emporium and do that Sweet Leaf stomp, man.
James Carlton. James Carlton. James Carlton. You gotta get your insurance. Gotta get that State Farm insurance.
You think you found the best insurance agent in the game? Well, I got news for you. I did, and it's James Carlton. State Farm. CarltonInsurance.net.
961-4800.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare.
You was in the frame. Look at that. We're surrounded by friends. I did, but I think right now I don't have it. We're gonna line all that out today because it's Friday. We're getting it all dialed in this weekend. We're getting everything back to operating at full capacity here. Can everybody hear me okay? Let me know at home. Send a thumbs up. Do whatever you got to do. We're joined by Mike Lindner. Hi. In here.
Good morning, Mike.
Good morning. We can talk about all kinds of stuff. My wife has a great little article about traveling to parallel universes, which is one of my favorite pastimes.
Same.
And then also, I did want to read, just because I thought that this is beautiful. Setting all politics aside, on Inauguration Day, Amanda Gorman read a poem that I just thought was really great. So she said, "When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, a sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast, and we've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just is isn't always justice. And yet the dawn is ours before we knew it. Somehow we do it. Somehow we've weathered and witnessed a nation that isn't broken, but simply unfinished. We, the successors of a country and a time where a skinny black girl descended from slaves and raised by a single mother can dream of becoming president, only to find herself reciting 4-1. And yes, we are far from polished, far from pristine, but that doesn't mean we are striving to form a union that is perfect. We are striving to forge a union with purpose. to compose a country committed to all cultures, colors, characters, and conditions of man, and so we lift our gazes not to what stands between us, but what stands before us. We close the divide because we know to put our future first, we must first put our differences aside. We lay down our arms so we can reach out our arms to one another. We seek harm to none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true. That even as we grieved, we grew. That even as we hurt, we hoped. That even as we tired, we tried. That we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. Scripture tells us to envision that everyone shall sit under their own vine and fig tree, and no one shall make them afraid. If we're to live up to our own time, then victory won't lie in the blade. But in all the bridges we've made, that is the promised glade, the hill we climb, if only we dare. It's because being American is more than a pride we inherit. It's the past we step into and how we repair it. We've seen a force that would shatter our nation rather than share it. We destroy our country if it meant delaying democracy, and this effort very nearly succeeded. But while democracy can be periodically delayed, it can never be permanently defeated. In this truth, in this faith we trust, for while we have our eyes on the future, history has its eyes on us. This is the era of just redemption we feared at its inception. We did not feel prepared to be the heirs of such a terrifying hour, but within it we found the power to author a new chapter, to offer hope and laughter to ourselves. So while once we asked, how could we possibly prevail over catastrophe? Now we assert, how could catastrophe possibly prevail over us? We will not march back to what was, but move to what shall be. A country that is bruised but whole, benevolent but bold, fierce and free. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation, because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become their burdens, but one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. So let us leave behind a country better than the one we were left with. Every breath from my bronze-pounded chest, we will raise this wounded world into a wondrous one. We will rise from the gold-limbed hills of the west. We will rise from the windswept northeast where our forefathers first realized revolution. We will rise from the lake-rimmed cities of the Midwestern states. We will rise from the sun-baked south. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover, and every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country. Our people, diverse and beautiful, will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light. If only we're brave enough to see it. If only we're brave enough to be it.
Oh, Lord.
She brought the heat.
That's church right there.
That's church. That is.
I definitely have the Holy Spirit now.
Yeah, that's church. Young lady, Amanda Gorman. I think she's in her early 20s. A really beautiful,
Eloquent, thoughtful
really
poet,
beautiful,
yeah.
thoughtful poem. And now,
And undoubtedly a patriot.
now it's
yeah.
now it's
Right.
on. Yeah, now
True
it's
patriot.
now it's on the leaders that she, that she stood before to say all of that, to be it, to not make their first actions ones of polarization, but ones of unity. So hopefully we can do that. Yeah, man, that was pretty awesome. It's really the only thing that I took from the inauguration.
When do you have time to read 25-minute poems in your life? I'm curious.
When do I have
on this show right now?
Wow. He's a busy guy.
I'm always going, babe.
That's it.
You wonder how the Google machine stays moving. Like you got to keep pumping.
I do wonder how the Google machine
You got to
stays
keep
moving.
pumping.
I will say, in
information into
fairness, when I watched this yesterday, when she was reading that, this was way faster than I remember seeing it the first time. But I think it's because I already had it in my head.
Yeah, that and
Maybe we should
that
just
and
some,
also like you got the
Dramatic
these
pauses.
poets with
Yeah.
their snapping and shit. They're these
damn
beatniks.
beatniks.
These damn beats.
And the berets and their coffee shops.
She was terrific. She was great. But also I believe I talked about maybe Brian Kessler saying it yesterday or something like. If you feel as though we are emerging from a long dark night. then I encourage you to actually do something with the day, with the dawn that you find yourself in, because nobody else is going to do it for you. If you feel as though some people in D.C. were working against you in the last 4 years, or in Jefferson City, or wherever you find yourself, chances are you're probably right, but chances are it had less to do with your happiness or your well-being than your own inaction or your own what's the word I'm looking for? Willingness to just do. So, get out there and do something. Nobody's going to save you, especially not any. I mean, what is the average age of Congress? 70. Like, no geriatric's going to save you from yourself.
Geriatric multimillionaire.
Yeah,
I think AOC dropped it to 68.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that helps. Yeah, there's a handful. And Cory Bush, drop that number down
I
a little
forgot
bit.
about Cory. So 67.
Yeah, 67.8. Yep.
Yeah, I knew.
There are this many.
New theory suggests that we travel to parallel universes when we dream. We've long been fascinated by the concept of dreaming and what they may reveal. With many different theories ranging from psychic glimpses into our future to a glimpse at our innermost thought and desires, scientists are more interested than ever in understanding this phenomenon. Every night, humans have an average of 6 to 10 dreams.
Wow.
A few minutes, from what I understand, like a dream is only just a couple of minutes.
You have
right?
to get into REM to be dreaming, though. Yeah, like you have to get good sleep to have 6 to 10 dreams.
What's good sleep? Let's start with that first.
REM sleep is good sleep. Yeah.
No, but you're right. But I think Mike and I were talking about it this morning. I'm like, oh, good morning. I'm like, yeah, indeed it is a good morning.
I had 0 dreams last night.
Yeah, I didn't have time.
I think that's why I didn't. I think I didn't dream for 15 years of my life. And I think it's because I smoked weed before I went to bed every night. And this is not a shot at people who smoke weed, because I still like to enjoy a little bit of cannabis, although I moved to CBD strains before bed and my dreams came back. So I putting that fog on my brain, I don't know if it kept me from getting into REM or what, but I never remembered any of my dreams. As a kid, I dreamt vividly. I told you the other day about having a recurring dream where Father Bob, who was the pastor of our church at Resurrection, I had this dream as a kid, and it freaked me out. I think I was maybe it happened over and over and over in 2nd and 3rd grade, where as he was holding up the Eucharist to bless the Eucharist facing the tabernacle, he just fell out, in my dream. And then one day he just
within
fell
the dream.
in the dream. And then one day we were at Mass, so we went to Mass twice a week. And it was the Friday was when the whole school did. Otherwise, it was alternated. So half of the classes would go on Tuesday and half of the classes would go on Wednesday. Totally, yeah. Got it. And so it was I think it was one of the Wednesday ones where there wasn't as many people in Mass. And sure enough, man, Father Bob went over there and he started to bless the Eucharist, and he just dips out. I mean, exactly like I dreamt. And I was sitting there just freaked out, because I'm 9, 10, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, I killed Father Bob.
Yeah, when you're 9 or 10 years old, you dream something like that.
And then it happens.
Did that to them.
Yep, no doubt.
It's
I
not
did.
oh, look at the coincidence. It's I did that.
I did. I absolutely did. So anyway, a few minutes after being awoken, these dreams are usually forgotten. However,
it's amnesia.
What if there's
legitimate amnesia?
Actual meaning to dreams that would make them more lucrative to remember?
So there is a website called dreamschool.org, O-R-G, if anyone is interested in decoding their dreams. I think it's run by the School of Metaphysics that's based here in Missouri, and they do a fantastic job of helping people navigate that superconsciousness and subconscious relay system. It's pretty cool.
Have you experienced a dream that was so real in life that you felt like you were literally there in the moment? You could feel the breeze on your face, smell the fresh cut grass, or taste the food that touched your lips. I believe they call that lucid dreaming.
They do.
Right?
Yeah.
And for the longest time, we have lucid dreaming apps and everything. And when I wasn't dreaming, I was so dead set on dreaming like I did as a kid.
Yeah.
And I always also had this dream where Freddy Krueger was chasing me in this black and white world, which used to always fuck me
Because
up.
scary movies aren't for children.
Because 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you.
Yeah, that's true.
3,
4,
and that.
They kind of gave you the playbook there, Craig.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, it was interchangeable. Sometimes it was him. Sometimes it was, Jason.
It's kind of funny that you bring up lucid dreaming as a child, because this morning Trevor was he's been asking me for months, how do I lucid dream? What do I do? What's this about? Because we have metaphysical books just all over our house.
Sure.
And I kind of gave him a what I would call a minor instruction because he's a baby still. But this morning he woke up elated. Mom, I lucid dreamed last night. I chose to fly in my dream.
Cool.
He said.
Dang.
It was pretty cool.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
It is good for him.
You know, I'm reading this here, and not to like jump too far.
No,
'cause I know you
keep
went for-
going. Yeah.
Thinking of this, and then reading what you just read, it kind of makes me wonder: did Martin Luther King maybe time travel to a different dimension, and that was what his dream was?
I hope so.
Maybe.
I hope he also got to travel again.
Yeah.
Right. Like.
Sure. Well, I think that's exactly how that works, right?
Yeah.
I
Fingers
don't fear the other side because I believe I've seen it and I like it.
What are you doing this morning, Mike?
Hey, what are you doing this morning?
I'm actually off today, so I'm just
hanging
doing
out?
just doing a bunch of admin. I'm here on the show.
Right on.
Do you want to tell us about what you do for a living?
You should do that.
I should. Do you want to finish this first, or?
Yeah, we'll get to it.
Yeah, well, all right. So I make people stronger for a living. As I look in the No, I work out in St. Peter, St.
Ladies.
Is that what that is?
Yes.
I'm sitting here wondering what the hell that was for a minute. I've never seen one of these in person.
It's a Jew's harp or a jaw harp.
It's a jaw harp.
If you search a jaw harp, it will come up a Jew's harp.
I thought you were hitting a button over here. I didn't. So the whole time I hear that on the show.
That's me just
live action.
This is how you can tell I'm listening on Twitch in the background. I'm actually watching the stream.
Yep, I get it.
I just assumed you guys were like pantsless this whole time too. This is very much a. Well, I mean, now it's a pleasant surprise.
Dennison wants you to make him hard. Real quick before we move on too quick.
Wait a minute here.
Will O'Donnell, dreams show me that I have barely scratched the surface of creativity. I have dreams that are 100 times more complex than a Dostoevsky novel. You took the time to write out
Okay, big
Dostoevsky,
league.
Will O'Donnell.
Okay, big league.
I couldn't do that without spell checking that
one
for
of
real.
The best, one of the best comics going in St. Louis for sure. Will O'Donnell. Check out the Willie Thrilly
One
comedy
of the
album.
highest intellectuals, obviously.
One of my
as
favorite
well,
dudes.
right?
One of my faves.
Some of my favorite comedians.
He
are
should
very
come in here
intellectual.
sometime.
Those are
And
the
he
best.
also he's got some ideas for some skits. We kind of storyboarded a skit on the show yesterday, and then he got in my DMs last night. And after I waited,
Oh, really?
After
Were
I
my
waited,
husband's DMs?
after I waded through a sea of dick pics, we got to we got to the we got to the nuts and bolts of it, which is like
Ladies.
Oh, man.
The nuts and bolts.
Anywho, so Dennison says, "Make me hard, Mike. Make me hard."
I
Dennison,
hug
just for
Dennison.
you.
He's already hard. He's a farmer.
Yeah.
What are you doing with my wife, Dennison?
Wait, are you talking about are you talking about his arms, or because he pulls a little close and?
Yeah.
I was talking about his arms. For sure.
Yes, of course,
100%.
absolutely, 100%. Nothing else could have ever.
How do you make people stronger, Mike?
I like to work on a principle of I take people from where they're at, and then here we go.
You're good. Yep.
I'm going to speak in here and use my sexy voice now.
Use your sexy voice. This is a good one.
No, copious amounts of drugs. No, I'm kidding. I like to really. I just like to meet people where they are and then help train patterns over and over that I know one is going to be useful for them, and then two, not just like in the weight room, but I mean like in their daily life. So like if you're bending down and picking stuff up, it's probably behooves us to make sure that you have like good flexibility in your hips and good mobility there.
So Mike is my trainer, and Mike, I have to know how me pushing sleds works in my regular life because it just makes me want to puke mostly.
Yeah. So in that case, one, it just builds up the legs for sure.
Okay.
There's a lot of arm work in there, and then it's I've just typically at that point run out of other things
Like
to
if
do.
I have to push over a gorilla, I
Yes.
feel pretty confident.
You could run
I
in and
couldn't
just
beat
push
him
that
up, but I
or
could push him
yeah,
over.
or like if you have to like move something really heavy, like setting up cotillion, you're moving those tables or something around. You know that becomes useful.
I see. Okay.
It's a
I
nice.
forgive you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a nice way for me to also say I probably run out of other stuff to do at that time. So I'm like, the sled looks good. Yeah, it's a sled.
That looks
Totally.
great.
Totally.
You don't need to breathe.
Right, exactly. No, I just starting people at a very basic level and saying, hey, we don't have to be world champions in weightlifting. We don't have to be powerlifters or strongmen. We just need to get you moving stronger for you. And whatever that looks like, that's where I start with. And so then we just work very progressively. I don't like to like push people to the end of their limits
Yeah, I
and then say,
appreciate
okay,
that.
go more. I'd rather work within a zone that I know you're comfortable on and then just expand that limit.
Yeah.
Because then once you've expanded that zone, you kind of covered up all the limits you had before. And now you're like, wow, this weight that was really heavy is now like a warm-up weight, and it's really cute.
Yeah.
And so I started out with kettlebells a long time ago, and that's what originally got me like into that same mode of if I just start with a lightweight and just get really good at this,
Yeah.
and then move on to a heavier one. That same principle, people do that in business. People do that in their in all sorts of practices too. Cooking, you start with what you're good at and just expand from there.
Very good.
So that's how I do what I do.
That makes sense to me.
When I do what I do.
Awesome.
I like my weights heavy and my squats down low.
Yeah, man.
That's a lie. I don't.
She does not. I can test.
Leg day is my favorite day.
I'm smiling because I'm like, yeah, she says that, but
It's not true.
there are discussions that happen, and normally it's no, make me do this.
Nora, how about, hey, fuck you?
Yeah, exactly. Fuck you. I don't want to do another set.
Finished with this.
Yes. So.
Sorry, we geek out pretty.
No,
much.
He's here for it.
I'm along for the ride. I am along for the ride. Talk to me about the Amazing 12.
The Amazing 12?
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. No, 12 weeks. I will take people.
To
Yeah,
the 12th power.
It's the 12th power. In whatever universe you travel to.
What does the Amazing 12 do?
The Amazing 12 takes somebody from day one all the way through 12 weeks of training. I do it in 2 versions now. There's a 5-day version of it, and then there's a 3-day version of it. The 5-day is really intensive. It's 5 days, 1 hour a day, and then there's some homework I have you do outside of this as well. It comes with a nutrition plan because obviously if you're training, you have to fuel yourself properly. And otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And my goal with either version of the 12 is to make a very holistic transformation in the physique, in the performance, strength, health, wellness, whatever word you want to throw in there. Just make as big of a holistic transformation as we can in 12 weeks using just those modalities. We do barbell training. We do some dumbbell work, some kettlebell stuff in there as well. But again, it's very progressive. I meet people where you are. So I could have people that are all varying skill levels or strength and athletic abilities doing similar. I don't want to say the same because there's always like a same but different, but very similar workouts next to each other. And everybody is still huffing and puffing and grunting at the same time because it's relevant to you. Like if you're a world champion lifter, you should have 400 pounds on a bar versus grandma who might just have like the 15-pound trainer bar. And that's a new progress for her.
I have to say, it is very motivating to be in one of your classes and the big, strong guy is equally struggling.
Yeah.
Like, it does make
No
it easier.
doubt.
Yeah.
You want to see people working as it's motivating to see people working as hard as you.
Yes.
Yeah.
In everything.
Yes.
Well, the nice thing too is like, then there's that camaraderie of like, oh wow, we're all kind of suffering through this together for a little bit. Even though sometimes some days do suffer a little bit more than others, and some days it's just kind of fun. You almost feel like you're just kind of going in and just punching the clock and then you're out.
Yeah.
Those kind of days are nice because it creates this nice tonic effect on the body where you're not really pushing too hard, and the body still gets that practice, it still gets that movement and those reps in. But you're like, oh, I feel really good. I can
That
go out
active recovery day.
Yes,
Yeah.
almost very much like an active recovery day for sure.
Cool.
So, and we do professional before and after photos because, if you're going to do the work, you might as well have something to show for it. And sometimes people are cool with me sharing that out on Facebook, and other times they get to put that in a little binder of, I did this one day, and I'm totally fine with that.
I did this for myself.
Yes.
And that's
Put
fun.
it on your refrigerator and help you make better choices,
Yeah.
maybe.
I had a thing I wanted to do one time, and it's a weird thing for me to broach on this one here, but we were joking one time with a couple clients of like, some of the gals were really, really feeling themselves towards the end of the 12 weeks, and like, I'm looking good, I'm looking lean, husband can't keep my hand or keep his hands off me, and I thought, the photographer we use for this also does boudoir shots, so maybe we need to do a package where. I just do this.
Cross-sell that.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like
Yeah.
I should like get like a little
At
package.
the end of this whole thing, you also get like
a half off or whatever. And the joke was we were going to have like a little portfolio binder of like, hey, here's your Amazing 12, and as you turn the page, it's just a note from me that says you're welcome to the husbands, and then it's the shot.
And then there's like
You're
the
welcome,
13
baby.
and the
You're
first
right,
shot,
exactly.
the first shot should be like them wearing like a potato sack.
Yes.
Like just wearing like the worst, frumpiest thing ever.
My first shot was like straight up Lululemon.
I seen you.
Yeah.
I seen you.
You want to look pretty in that before picture too,
guess.
y'all.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want anybody to think that there's any kind of
You
trickery
stick
going
your
on.
stomach out as far as you can. You have terrible posture and your sad face.
Yeah, we load everybody up on wings and beer before their first shot. No, we don't do that. Like I said, I take everybody where you're at. I honestly
That
sometimes
sounds. I haven't had like I haven't had like a wings and beer day for.
Maybe that's what you should do tomorrow on your day off.
Maybe I will. I'm
There
gonna
you go.
tie on
Tie
a
one
good
on.
buzz
Call
and
up
just
Joey
eat
Pipes
as
and go have a
much
day.
chicken off a bone as I can.
There you go.
I
I might
love
just
it.
do that. That's not a bad play.
Everybody needs a free day once in a while. No, there you go. I still love the fact I was sitting here looking at a thing. What the hell is
this thing? What the hell is this
That
thing?
was it the whole
I'm
time.
still learning. I'm gonna be the world's best Jews harp player.
So you're not only a trainer and our friend, but you're also a true Hoosier.
Yes.
Right? You've been here since day one.
I have been.
What's it like to be on the outside but also on the inside?
Of the Hoosier
Of
group?
our group, yeah.
It's a ride. It's really funny because there are days I'll follow what's going on, and like in the group, I love it's like really watching a wild river of just things just flowing in and out of that group. People sharing articles where it's like it's very thought-provoking and very deep and very metaphysical. And then there's a guy that just like 5 seconds later is like engaging 70 comments, and it's like, hey guys, boobs, and there's like 100,000 comments on this, and I'm like,
the boob gifs are the best.
They are the best, yes. And so, every day we're learning if some of our members who have like 14 accounts now on Facebook, just so they can avoid
Jessica
the bans.
Evans.
I wasn't going to say it, but Jess Baskins, exotic.
Just exotic. And what's the other one? You can pronounce it.
Asazeshnave?
Yes, thank you.
That sounds like a Slytherin thing.
It really does, yeah. I'm speaking partial tongue.
Exactly. She has her name in the old way. Backwards.
Saucy's has great trashed wings. That's actually good to know.
Do they?
Because their pizza's just kind of eh.
I didn't know they had trash wings in Pressure
And
Drop, Nick.
we always
Trash
drive all the
wings
way
are
to,
my jam.
And we always drive to Arnold to get my wife
I
trash
drive
wings
25
they're
minutes
like
for
the
trash
only
wings.
that she can have.
It's a true story.
Is that it?
Yeah, I'm a full-on carnivore, y'all. Like.
Yep, that's true. I'm into it. I'm sorry. I'm
You're
working on my
working.
other
He's working.
job.
No, yeah.
I'm working on my other job.
Working 2 jobs, doing a live broadcast, and on 3 hours of sleep.
Working 12 to 5. What a way to make a living.
He's going 12 a.m. to 5 a.m. the next day, though. It's not 12
We got
12
in at
p to
midnight
5 p.
last night. We got in at midnight last night, and I was soundly in bed by 12:30, and it was great. We got a couple hours.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. I got a couple hours. I think you ever, like when you're fucking really tired, and your partner, like for whatever reason you can't sleep, and probably with me, like it's because I snore like
Craig has sleep apnea.
like a steel chainsaw. But like
he stops breathing for 45 seconds,
dad
and
used
then
to do the
it's a
same thing,
very
yeah.
So talking about some of the times we've gotten
Loud.
together in like the Hoosier group, there was one time where we caught you snoring on a
We have
couch sometime.
sleepovers. We have sleepovers.
Yeah, we've had a sleepover at a friend's house, and I remember I was downstairs in a basement, and I kept hearing this rattling sound, and I walked upstairs, and it was Craig on the couch.
Just getting
Just-
it, huh? That's tough,
Holy
guys.
shit, man!
I'll
So I
sleep in
just
a
kind
car
of did
from
one of
now
these
on.
little.
You can just do
nudges.
some Wim Hof. I think will help a lot.
I do Wim Hof all the time. I don't know if it's gonna help a lot. I think I just need to lose about 60 pounds. Mike is what I need to do, and I think that
I know a guy.
that fold will fucking not happen in my neck.
I don't know because some babies have sleep
Yeah,
apnea
I know.
too,
I know.
right? Like
Yeah,
that's
I-
not.
I know. I think that's. I don't know. Well, it's definitely hereditary. 'Cause my
As
dad
long as I've
definitely
known you, it's been that way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at least we know that it's got to be more than like 25 pounds. I got.
Maybe.
26.
You know how I imagine this is kind of what my wife's want to sleep looks like, where she just looks at me as I'm fucking snoring, just sleeping so peacefully. And she just looks at me with like a kitchen knife in her hand.
Only that one time did that happen, and you just keep bringing it back up.
She's like just angry that I'm sleeping. So, and then it's like the next day, and I'm like, babe, is everything okay? Yeah, everything's fine.
I slept
Is
1 hour
Is
last
everything
night.
okay though?
I'm
And like
fine.
everything
It's
is
fine. Everything
fine.
is fine.
Have you ever seen that?
How
It's
was
either
your
a
sleep
meme
last
or.
night? It looked really peaceful. Did you have peaceful
You look
sleep?
really
last
well
night?
rested this
Did
morning.
you have peaceful sleep last night? I'm just curious.
Well, it's funny because I know you're such a cat person. I always see that GIF of the cat where it's like doing the claws out on its owner as they're sleeping.
Kill him.
And it's like,
But I love it.
I know you have treats, but I could take you out right now.
Dude, that's.
If I weighed 70 pounds, you'd already be
Right,
dead.
exactly.
Yeah.
But I own you, so I let you live. Is
We
my mercy.
We'll try and pressure drop. Maybe we'll do that this weekend.
What's he doing?
The trash wings. We're gonna try them. My brother-in-law can close his eyes and be asleep in 3 minutes flat. That's me, dude. I can sleep on demand.
Yeah.
No matter where I'm at. I standing up, sitting down, in a closet, in a trunk. I'll go to sleep wherever I need to go to sleep.
The other comment he just posted, I love him, hate his superpower. That's also my superpower. I will
It's
sleep
also
anywhere.
my superpower.
I have literally, so a long time ago, I think now it's called Rise, but when it used to be called Home at Ameristar, that dance club they have down there.
Okay.
I went out. They had like a little lounge area, so they had like the whole dance club, the bars, all that. Outside, they had a little lounge and had couches, and it was very homey. I would hope so, right? It's named home. And I legit crashed there for 20 minutes, just right on the couch in the middle of like some banger that was going on. People were looking for me, and I just took a little cat nap and woke up and, all right, I'm back. Let's go.
I was a bartender for 6 years. I can't tell you how many times I had to wake people up on a bar.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anytime I had somebody fall asleep at a bar.
To fall asleep on the bar.
Oh, you have to kick them out. You got to let them go. You cannot stay here.
Yeah.
If you think a bottle of Jameson is a very, very comfy pillow, then there's other issues going on. And
you know, honestly, I worked at a really popular bar in St. Louis, this 3 a.m. bar, but we had to have one day shift, and my one day shift was the morning, the 6 a.m. shift that all of the third shift workers, the firefighters and nurses would come in, and those people can party.
Oh yeah.
Holy Moses. But if you're sleeping, if one of those people were sleeping, it's probably because they were on a 72-hour shift.
For sure, yeah. You almost have a little more.
It was very rarely somebody.
Those ones you kind of know, though. It's like you have a little context of like, hey, listen, this guy just worked, like you said, 72 hours. They had like a long shift.
Yeah.
We'll just give them a little nudge and be like, hey, there's a cot in the back for this. It's okay. So.
Guys, we did it. Is there anything else you guys want to cover before we wrap this thing up? I think, I'll ask you for a little feedback, Mike. I mean, does the show suffer for starting at 7:30? I think that makes it a little bit more palatable for all the masses. I don't think that extra half hour does anything, but I don't want to put anything in anybody's head. I just feel like 7:30 to 10 is a real nice 2.5 hour talk in the morning. And
I feel like as your person, you getting an extra 30 minutes to yourself is...
Yeah, it won't be sleep, but it'll be to myself. I'll
Yeah.
be able to have a cup of coffee in the morning and,
So you're asking like starting at 7:30 versus 7?
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, well, and the thing is, there was a while where, I can't remember what happened. Maybe it was just one day I remember you had like a best of, and there was like series of clips. I went, oh man, I love these.
I know.
I haven't seen these in forever. It's like some of the Bobby Battlehawk
really
ones.
a lot of fun.
That was a lot of fun. Because again, you guys cover so much stuff so quickly, especially now you're going Monday through Friday.
Yep.
It's hard to remember sometimes. Like, now you've got multiple episodes in the week.
Little flips of genius.
Yeah, it's like versus like you got to wait a week for this, and so now that you moved to that format, it's like, man, you guys cover a lot of ground. So going back and looking at those was kind of fun to remember, and it's also like you said I've been here for a while. It's kind of fun. Oh shit, I remember when they first did that, and I was like when Steve killed the cat.
Oh man,
I want to make that my damn ringtone anytime he calls.
Well, you can make that happen. I've got the MP3 for you.
Oh,
we can
yes.
make that happen. Dennis
Start at
Danger is
8.
always making some amazing music. I want to start featuring some of that some more in the mornings. Ryan's going to contribute some more in the mornings. We're going to have our Makate segment every week. We're going to check in with Max Montrose probably once a month at least. Let that be some cannabis knowledge. I'm going to reach out to some of the psychedelic advocates. We're going to get our phone-in line set up so that people can call in the mornings and be funny, text in, do whatever they want to do.
High production value.
There's a lot of things. What I kind of forget that a lot of the hilarious content that fans add to radio shows is because they have a level of anonymity attached to that people might not want to write in with their
That's fair.
with their social media name attached. So we're going to try and give people an opportunity to develop their own characters, just like Steve was Cucky the Dwarf on 590 in the mornings and all those guys. Kind of a similar situation where people can kind of be a part of the show and say things that they want to say while still being able to go to their government job or whatever it is that they got to do and be able to potentially look people in the eyes. Yeah. So big changes coming. We got some work to do with Jason. Kind of a disheartening trip yesterday, meeting with some movers in the industry. And when you start to find out that people that have hundreds of thousands invested in this industry and are equally up a creek as we are, it's not deflection. I saw it with my own 2 eyes, and it's kind of fucking heartbreaking. I mean, we've seen some dispensaries like open for 3 minutes, sell out their product, and then not have anything for a while, and you're like, oh, what's that? Well, that's not the only place where that bottleneck exists. It's pretty goddamn disheartening what about 3 people in this industry are doing to the entire state. So we're going to find a way to just go around them. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're committed to doing. We're committed to doing the right thing. We're committed to getting medicine to the patients that need it. And we're going to do it with active patients running the ball because that's who needs to be represented, and they're not being represented
right now, even by dispensaries or by manufacturers, because even they are handcuffed in this game. We've got about less than a handful of people that are putting the brakes on this entire thing, and that's why pounds are $4,500 wholesale across the entire market for everybody, whether it's the shittiest weed or the best weed, and it ain't the best weed, but whether it's one or the other, they're just charging a flat rate. That's not how this works. And the state is not only allowing them to do it, I think they're helping them do it. And we got to fucking do something about it. So.
Agreed. So to end on a lighter note, we were discussing having our Hoosier friends come in because this is for all of us, right?
Yeah, I love this idea. Yes.
Yeah, this is for all of us. And so if you want to come hang out with us and you're a true Hoosier, we want you to come hang out with us and sit at the table that Dan Hendrickson, my new dad, made for us and learn about each other and love and grow. Our opinions are certainly not the only opinions that matter. And we're surrounded by
better people.
Great people, like not just good people, but great people. And we feel like you guys, when we talk about the community, we're talking about you guys, right? When we talk about, when we raised $8,000 for Backstoppers, or I'm not sure what the final number was after cost. When we raise money for, when we do washer tournament, it's the Hoosiers that make that happen. And so you guys should have an opportunity to come and use your voices as well.
That was this last year was my first washer tournament. I'd never been to one before, and I keep hearing about it. That was so fun to see everybody turn up.
It's so
and just seeing everybody not only turn up, but like just pour themselves into whatever the cause is.
Yeah, when you see 200 people. And, this year, the tournament was for Aubrey. And her mama was there with her newborn baby because Aubrey was too sick to come. And so John stayed home with her. And just her being hugged by complete strangers. They're never going to see her again. And they just shoved $200 into her pocket.
Yeah, exactly. And it makes sense.
That's a good day.
We're here to love on her.
That's a good day. And so, shout out to the Hoosiers, but also the Spanish Society crew for that, right? We don't need to look to... high officials we can take care of ourselves, and we've done a goddamn good job of doing it.
We need people to get the hell out of our way and let us do it.
No, we don't. We just need to do it. We just need to ignore, right? But yeah,
I agree with you.
We've got way more power than we've been told, and I feel like our tribe has unearthed something that belongs to us by birthright, and we've rediscovered a way of life that belongs to us by our primate birthright, right? We deserve a tribe because that's who we are truly. And so let's showcase the tribe.
Damn right. Real quick, to build on that a little bit, this is a celebration of the Hoosiers. If you want to come in here, also if you have a small business, maybe you're a trainer or something like that, come in here, talk about your business in the community. That's something, Steve and I always set out to, create content and commercials for businesses that want to do this, and we have for many of our sponsors. Ricky and Rachel are great about this too. Come in, talk about your business a little bit. We can mess around with the green screen, potentially shoot you some kind of content for you to share on your socials. If you think that it works out, then maybe we can figure out a way for us to continue doing that and a compensation plan for that to make it make sense for everybody. And then all of a sudden, Mycelial Media is kind of doing what it's good at, which is putting your company in a light that maybe you're not currently representing to your feeds, because we can make as much as we want, but we can't beat the Facebook algorithm. But when we take something and we make it and then give it to people and allow them to go share it in their circles, typically it takes off. There's a little bit of oversaturation when it only comes from us. But when we create something for you to then share in your circles, typically it will get people to stop scrolling through their feed, which gets them engaging with your brand and gets them wanting to do business with you. And if you can continue to do that, we work out a deal every quarter where we get you something. The first one's on us. So the first one's on me. You come in here, we'll make something cool for you and see how it works. And if it works well for you, we can figure out how we do business going forward. It's not enough to have a social media manager or to be present on social media. You need to get people stop scrolling through their feeds and engaging with your brand in order to do that. And that's what this whole entire studio is for. It's to be able to amplify the voices of businesses that need their voice amplified. There is, real quick, I want to acknowledge Amber because Amber who was Nolan's, the love of Nolan's life. Is really always working to teach people about FICO and RSO protocols. And I'm always learning about this too. And yesterday I learned that hormonal cancers are affected negatively by high THC FICO. And so those are ones that you want, like a 3-to-1 CBD to THC RSO protocol. That's why it's not just enough to say, hey, we need FICO. We need a whole spectrum of FICO to treat different kinds of cancers and illnesses. And it's people like Amber who have that information, who are making it available. She added me to a group that is unbelievable, like the amount of...
Amber had to learn the hard way,
Yeah,
though.
she had to do it herself.
We don't want everybody to have to learn the hard way all the time.
Right.
Right.
Well, that's the nice thing about like when you go that hard road, you get to make the catalog of like, hey, this but not that, and then pass that along, and then we just get better and better.
Yeah, no testimony without the test. Right?
Exactly.
There's nothing on the planet like this friend group. This is one of a kind, and if they hate us, it's because they ain't us. That's our buddy Zach.
Say a lot of for those in the back.
Quick shout out to our sponsors, Native Hemp Extract. If you enter code HOSO right now, the CBD CBG 1500 milligram extract, I think it's just a little over $50 with the code HOSO shipped to your door, which is pretty much cost. I mean, Genson's basically paying to give you medicine.
Didn't
that
he
is
just
really
drop
good.
it again?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, that's
yeah,
it. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, he dropped it to almost. I mean, if you're with the HOSO code, you're pretty much paying wholesale prices on that product. It's unbelievable. Jason Long has the biggest heart I've ever seen.
Yeah, it's easy for us to help people because people help us.
Yeah, and
Let's be
guys
honest.
like Jason Long, not only do they have they been running businesses that represented patients for the last couple of decades, but also is the first person to give or donate to anything that we have going on. And that's people see a lot of the fundraising we do in public. That's the tip of the iceberg for what somebody like Jason Long does for the community on a regular basis. I've handed people obscene amounts of money just from that guy, not because he expected
Just
his name.
yesterday.
Yeah, not because he expects his name to be out there. Although I'm not going to allow him to keep doing this anonymously, because I'm not going to allow this guy to not be recognized for all of the amazing things that he's doing in the community. Jason Long's one of the good ones. He's a patient himself. He wants to know where his goddamn meds are, and he's right. And one of these days, I'm going to get him to sit down here and feel good about letting all you motherfuckers know. But Jason's as good as they come, and he is making this happen in the community, and we are going to do some incredible stuff together, and we are going to fix the problem. We're going to fix a real problem. James Carlton, State Farm, he's fantastical. He's handsome.
We wish he was our dad.
We
but
do
it's
wish he
Dan
was our
Hendrickson.
dad, but our dad is Dan Hendrickson, and to be honest with you, Dan's better with a saw. And sandpaper, and just giving. I posted a thing the other day that was like a crazy piece of geometry. Did you guys see that ball of knots? That wooden ball of knots.
I did see that.
And I was just saying how cool it was because the message kind of coincided with the burl.
Yeah.
And Dan talking about the burl's like a cancer of the wood, and as you watch this, you can see where it happens, and then you see the tree grow in spite of it, and you can see that in all of these rings, and the way that he built this table piece by piece looks like the rings on a tree, and represents
very much does.
What a tree goes through in order to become its best case self, which is the only self that it knows. It's just trying to find the light, which is what all of us are doing. I thought that was kind of it was very timely that little ball of knots it matched up with Dan's message, and so I posted it just trying to brag on him a little bit and love on him a little bit and his craftsmanship, and he's like, you know what? I think the studio needs one. I'm like, oh, Jesus, I just gave Dan another 1,000-hour project to do, Anyway, somehow we got off on Dan Hendrickson, but who we were talking about is James Carlton's fine ass. He's a fine ass.
He is one handsome.
He's got kind eyes.
He's got kind eyes. CarltonInsurance.net, 314-961-4800. If he's not doing your insurance and you live in Missouri or Illinois, you're getting fucking took, bud, because he's the best insurance agent in the game. He's going to save you a ton of money. He's going to make sure that you are sufficiently covered. Bo know how to grow, and he know how to grow real good hydro Bo from Grow Active Solutions on Hartford, Grand and Hartford down in Tower Grove South. He's got all of your grow products, all of your grow needs. Get you lights, tents, soils, nutrients, whatever you need, man. You try and go grow plants, go see Bo. It's not hard. Go and see Bo. And Spanish Society Outreach, Vibe Tribe, Brian Kessler, just doing good to make up for a childhood of miscreants.
Send Brian Kessler a dick pic. He would love that.
Yeah, everybody should.
He does so much for us.
I think it's the best way to say thank you.
The best way to say thank you to Brian Kessler is to look him up on Facebook and message him a dick pic.
It doesn't have to be your dick.
No. Actually,
No.
it's probably better if it's not, because then you have a much wider selection of dicks to pick from.
Yeah, actually, you could send him a whole spectrum of dicks, a full spectrum of dicks, if you will, which is the best kind. Full spectrum medicine is the best kind of medicine.
And then
Full extract dick pic.
Yes.
Full spectrum
and if
dick
you
pic.
ever wanted to do me a favor, when he says, "Hey, what's this about?" just don't respond.
Yeah, just say,
just leave that message.
Tell him the Hoosier sent you.
No, I wouldn't even do that. I think like how on your iPhone it has that little message was read at. Just leave it there.
Yeah, there you go.
Let him wonder.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's not
For
bad.
at least a day.
Yeah, no doubt. If you
And,
guys
and then send him a hey, what's up, buddy?
if
And
you
just
guys
let him
could
wonder.
do me a favor and send him a solid smattering of dick pics, that would be wonderful. That's
I'm
what
gonna
you
get on
could
that right
do
now.
for Brian Kessler.
I am too.
Love you all. I love that I get to take that knowledge and help. Never want anyone to have to do it alone. We don't want anyone to do it alone either, Amber. Guys, it's time. We used to, I talked about hitting our friends with Tub Girl back in the day, which I could never really talk about with a straight face in front of my wife. But when we were gamers and we had a LAN center basically in the upstairs of my first house, what are you doing? you actually did it? Yeah, what did you think was going to happen? Do you think it was going to bring up?
Everybody over
It's the British Broadcasting Channel.
Yeah,
what are you looking
at?
What are you looking at?
Where I find
Bridgerton?
Doctor Who. I almost started that the other night.
Oh,
Hey,
that is
easy,
not
You're on
Doctor
camera.
Who.
Yeah, that's not Doctor. That's Doctor what?
I mean, something
That's
got
Doctor. What the fuck is that thing?
something got a little timey wimey, but
So with that being said,
That just shook me to my core.
I had to stop looking because the one I started googling was like.
with that being said,
This will definitely end the show.
It's so weird because I have a very degenerative personality, like a sense of humor.
Yeah.
But I am truly a very modest person.
You are a very wholesome and modest person.
Yeah, like I just
But man, when that's-
fucked myself so hard.
when that switch flips, damn.
Let's get out of here.
no, I want you to be on camera looking at dicks the whole time.
Here,
This is
let's-
awesome.
We should make that bonus footage for the Patreon.
I'm definitely gonna clip that down for the Patreon.
For real, send it to Brian.
Yeah, sure. I think I pretty well covered everything. It's Friday. I love you. And I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you find a way to move through this weekend with love in your heart and kindness in your eyes and firmness in your touch
and dick pics in Brian Kessler's inbox.
Yo, where's the Asian guy? Global guy, we've missed you, buddy. We've missed you. There's whole lot of stuff has changed since you stopped tuning in, and it's all your fault. But we're about ready to get out of here. You guys are great. Let me know how I can help. Bruce, you're great. Take a picture of your. You did it too, didn't you?
There you go. Oh, you went to Facebook. You're going to get banned.
I don't know if in the messages.
That's right. Yeah. Oh, well, that's fine. That's
I
fine.
think that they are cracking.
Relationship.
I think they are cracking
Right.
down.
He just says anything. I think Facebook Messenger is perfectly fine. with
No,
It
you
should
didn't
be.
scare away Steve, global guy. I'm just kidding with you. But I don't think Steve's going to be here in the mornings. But if you, by the way, the sub button, I know.
Yeah, he's taking care of business.
Now that I know you've been begging for months, and I'm going to give you a way to give us money, and I appreciate that. So we will get all of that taken care of. He's just trying to help us out. He's just trying to get it to where we can make a little bit of extra money with Twitch and everything. And we are working towards that. The studio is ever changing. The landscape changes a little bit for Hoosier Sophisticate, but the message doesn't, and the love doesn't. And we will continue to move forward. It's a wonderful Friday. It's a great day to have a great day. And I hope. Well, you know what? I'm just going to sign this thing off like I used to with the old deals, and then you guys are going to have to remind me what we say after that. But I'm just going to remind you, as a sophisticated Hoosier, it is your duty to get out there and
suck the day's dick. Okay? Or it's clit, whatever your sexual proclivity is, you make sure you live your life with the zest and fervor that only a sophisticated Hoosier can. I sure love you. And the way that we wrap this thing up is...
Cowabunga.